Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Learn about smart betting strategies with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, grief and relief as the suspected child killer Giovanni Dennis, or that's Giovanni Ellis, is cut down by the police.
Tears flowed as Kelsey's schoolmates at St. John's Primary grieve her passing.
The police say Kelsey's suspected killer was shot dead after he refused to surrender.
We did make several calls and pleas for Ellis to turn himself in, but unfortunately he decided otherwise.
JFJ condemns the Kelsey's brutal rape and murder but defends its mandate as a lobby group for broader state accountability.
That's the mandate of the organization, state accountability. So JFJ, we don't speak on citizen-to-citizen interaction or incident.
Hampton High School students injured in crash sit their CSEC exam in hospital.
Contractor at the center of ongoing controversy reveals that he's a former PNP member and activist.
In news from the rest of the world, classes at public schools in Antigua and Barbuda suspended today as teachers continue their industrial action.
Jurors shown assault video in first testimony of Diddy's sex trafficking trial.
In headline sports, Brazil appoints first foreign coach in more than a century as they seek to salvage dismal World Cup campaign.
And later on our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, police say the person of interest in the brutal killing of 9-year-old Kelsey Farragon was cut down after pleas for him to surrender were ignored.
Ellis reportedly pointed a pistol at the St. Catherine North team. We did make several calls for Ellis to turn himself in.
And shortly before his death, Ellis's mother called for him to be eliminated.
Right now, if this ever go out to the public, anyway, uno catch him, uno kill him. Anybody at all catch him, kill him.
You'll hear more.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, should the sex offenders registry be made public? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90FM, Nationwide Radio, jm.com, and on the Nationwide app available in Google Play and the App Store. This Monday afternoon, it's Monday, May 12, 2025.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. There was a somber and emotionally charged atmosphere at St. John's Primary School in Spanish Town, St. Catherine today, where 9-year-old Kelsey Farragon was a student. Kelsey was brutally murdered sometime between 1 and 8 p.m. last Friday. It's reported that the child may have been sexually assaulted before being stuffed in a barrel at her home. The person of interest in her killing, Giovanni Ellis, was shot and killed during an alleged confrontation with the police this morning. At the school, the mood was one of grief and mourning. Roby Ann Williams was there.
There was no laughter in the classrooms at St. John's Primary School on Monday. Instead, tears flowed. A pall of sadness hung over the school. 9-year-old Kelsey Farragon, a bright light among her peers, was violently taken from this world. Kelsey's classmates cried openly. Her desk, once a place of joy and learning, was now a small shrine surrounded by flowers, candles, and handwritten notes filled with love. One note in a child's handwriting read, "Dear Kelsey, I love you so much. We are best friends. We're like sisters. But now you're gone. R.I.P." Another said, "Kelsey, you are the best friend in my heart. I wish you were here now. I love you till my heart melt." Her smiling face still beams from the classroom's top speller wall. She also excelled in a recent math relay team where she won a medal. Grief counseling was provided by representatives of the Child Protection and Family Services Agency CPFSA, who were on location supporting students and staff. Officials of the Ministry of Education and the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF were also present. Kelsey's class teacher since October, Miss Candice Coburn, described her as a model student and a true scholar.
Kelsey, all the positive words you could think of. She's a leader. I appointed her to be the group leader for our group. She's always someone who you would come to find a solution to try and fix a problem that's happening in the class. Kelsey was so quiet. She was so quiet. She didn't shout. She's kind. She would normally walk around and check on the other students. If someone is not eating, that's Kelsey. She's going to come and tell me, and she's going to say, "Miss Coburn, this boy is not eating. He said this or he said that. I don't know if he spent off the lunch money, but that's what he said." And she would share her lunch with the person.
Ms. Coburn says Kelsey was often paired with other students to help with various school activities due to her helpful nature. She noted that grieving will be difficult for the entire school community.
We have a strong school family behind us, and the guidance department is always working, so it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. As you can see, those are our closest peers from they came in. Even mommy told me on the weekend that it's so hard for them. They have a little clique. They won't ever see her again. And just looking at the empty spot, that's the hardest.
Robianne Williams for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Commander of the Police Area 5, Assistant Commissioner Christopher Phillips, says Giovanni Ellis was shot and killed after several attempts to get him to surrender peacefully fell on deaf ears.
Investigation led a team from St. Catherine North into the Clarendon area, where Giovanni Ellis, the person of interest in Kelsey's murder, was fatally shot in the Parliamentary District of Sandy Bay in Clarendon earlier today. Ellis reportedly pointed a pistol at the St. Catherine North team, and the weapon was subsequently seized after police took evasive action. We did make several calls and pleas for Ellis to turn himself in, but unfortunately he decided otherwise.
That's Assistant Commissioner Christopher Phillips. Pictures of Ellis's body lying on its back and clad only in a pair of blue underpants have been making the rounds on social media. The pictures show what appears to be a wound to the inside of Ellis's left thigh and a wound on the chest in the area of the right rib cage. The police say they seized a firearm following the deadly confrontation. Ellis was also said to be a repeat offender who was out on bail. ACP Phillips is calling for the Sex Offenders Registry to be used effectively in preventing an increase in sexual crimes against children.
More reports are being made of sexual offences against children, and often close family members and friends being implicated. I want to renew our call for a more effective application of the use of the Sexual Offenders Registry as a tool to prevent such heinous crime. We urge everyone to be proactive in reporting any suspicious behavior or concerns about the safety of our children.
Assistant Commissioner Christopher Phillips. He was speaking to students and teachers on Monday during a visit to St. John's Primary School in Spanish Town, St. Catherine.
And the mother of Giovanni Ellis, Lurleen Williams, says she feels relieved that her son is dead. Shortly before his death, Ms. Williams called for him to be eliminated. Hours later, she had to identify his body.
Well, me that expect that when me look on him, me that go feel sad, feel breakdown like a little, but no. When me look on him and say, this is the way you want to go, eh? For a young youth where are 30-year-old and you got charges. Look at you now. That's what I said to him. I know I'm not here, you know. I know I'm not here. But I feel compelled to say it. And everybody stand up and look at me like, really? The mother come and she attack like that and no tears, no little remorse, no nothing. No, me can't have no heart for you because of what you do the little baby.
Would you say you are feeling relieved?
I'm not lying, yes. I am feel relieved.
Lurleen Williams, mother of Giovanni Ellis, speaking with reporters.
And Executive Director of Jamaican Sir Justice JFJ, Michael Jackson, has condemned the brutal rape and murder of Kelsey Ferrigan.
It's a very somber Monday. From the weekend, I think an entire country has been rocked by the shocking news surrounding the death of 9-year-old Kelsey, who died in a manner that no parent can ever imagine their child. An act that is just so heinous. And our thoughts here with the family of Kelsey and the brother who found her body, and to her classmates and the St. John's Primary. Our prayers with you, and we hope that the counseling support that has been triggered by the state would help as best as it can in the circumstances.
Speaking on the weekly JFJ-produced program Let's Talk Justice, aired on Nationwide 90 FM on Mondays, Ms. Jackson also took the opportunity to remind the public about the mandate of the organization. This after several comments accuse JFJ of clouding its judgment by dancing around certain matters. They've also called on the group to change its name and logo. But according to Ms. Jackson, JFJ's mandate goes beyond addressing individual incidents, but actively lobbies for broader state accountability.
The organization advocates for improved and increased state accountability. So we want to ensure that you have a police institution that works, a DPP office that works, the court system works. You can have your matters tried within a reasonable time. Yeah. Victims don't have to be waiting years, and then you don't have witnesses coming forward and so on. And that's the mandate of the organization, state accountability. So JFJ, we don't speak on citizen-to-citizen interaction or incident.
Michael Jackson, Executive Director of JFJ.
And the police killing of Giovanni Ellis brings to 120 the number of people killed by the security forces since the start of the year. The figure is 70 more than the 50 individuals killed up to May 8 last year. It represents a 140% increase in police fatal shootings when compared to the similar period last year. So far, 9 have been reported in May alone. This compared to the 11 killed by the police in May last year. This is according to information from the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
Celebrate 26 years with IQ Optical. Enjoy 26% off your prescription eyewear and sunglasses this month only. Book your appointment or take your prescription to IQ Optical in New Kingston, Manor Park, or Drexel. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is
13 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sans Souci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
Continuing the news, the contractor engaged to Prattville Primary School in South Manchester, Carl Robinson, has revealed that he's a former activist and member of the People's National Party. Mr. Robinson has been at the center of controversy after opposition Senator Peter Bunting said he was not paid for works done on Prattville Primary School. He has rejected Senator Bunting's claims, but he is concerned that persons in the Ministry of Education are leaking his private financial information. Mahiri Stewart reports.
Senator Peter Bunting has accused the government of contributing to delays in the completion of construction works at Prattville Primary School in South Manchester. Bunting, who is the PNP caretaker for South Manchester, told the Senate last Friday that the contractor on the project, Carl Robinson, had stopped working because he had not been paid. But Mr. Robinson says that is false. Speaking on the Jamaica Politics Uncovered YouTube show on the weekend, Mr. Robinson disclosed that the government does not owe him a cent. He explained that work at the school was not halted and instead was delayed by a lack of material. But another twist in the saga emerged on Monday. Mr. Robinson revealed on Cliff Hughes Online that he's a former member and activist of the PNP.
This is why I make the effort to come out and defend my company and my reputation, because to be honest, I was affiliated with Mr. Ronald Thwaites.
When you say affiliated to Mr. Ronald Thwaites, you were an activist for Mr. Thwaites and the PNP, were you?
Yes, I was a member of the People National Party. I was a chairman for a group, executive member, and also a delegate. And the people at education, they know me. Majority of them know me.
According to Mr. Robinson, he stopped supporting the PNP following Lisa Hanna's defeat by Mark Golding in the party's leadership election in 2020.
I walked away based upon the principles and the way how they do operate, because within the years being in a party, you always can voice your opinion without being beaten up and call a labor right and things like that. So the party take a new term where I don't think I'm supposed to be a part of that. So I walk away. But saying I have a beef with them, no.
So when did you walk away from the PNP?
When Lisa lose. When the challenge between Lisa and Mr. Golding.
Yes.
And Lisa lose, walk away.
He also told Cliff Hughes that the false claims made by Senator Bunting have put his business under scrutiny.
If he have concern, I think there's other ways and avenue that he could find out. Even we've been constantly in touch with the principal, let you know what's taking place and things like that. So I think they could easily find out what's taking place without have to go in the parliament to bring false information about the contractor.
People listening must be asking, where did Mr. Bunting get his information from?
Mr. Hughes, this is my personal belief. That person in the ministry is giving out information. A friend of mine who is a contractor asked me for a loan and I tell him I don't have any money. And this gentleman could tell me how much the ministry sent to my account.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Government Senator Marlon Morgan says Senator Bunting alleged in the Senate on Friday that the technocrats of the Education Ministry had misled Minister Dr. Dana Morris Dixon regarding works done at Prattville Primary.
But when the matter of Prattville was raised by Mr. Bunting and the minister responded to him standing by the contents of her statement, Bunting, using the platform of the Senate, he quipped that the minister was being misled by the technocrats in the ministry. I think that was extremely unfortunate. That is beneath his office as a lawmaker in this country, because the minister in particular would have no interest in conveying information that was not verified by the technical team. He charged essentially throwing the civil servants under the bus.
Marlon Morgan, Government Senator, he was speaking on Cliff Hughes Online on Monday.
Students of Hampton School in St. Elizabeth who were involved in a motor vehicle crash on Monday have been released from the Black River Hospital. Principal of Hampton, Marvel Charlton Brown, confirmed with our news centre. She also noted that the 4 students who were scheduled to sit their Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate or CSEC exam at the hospital have done so.
We had 14 ladies who were involved in the motor vehicle accident this morning, and all 14 were transported to the Black River Hospital. They were treated and under about an hour ago, they were released. The 4 ladies who needed to sit their CSET exams have completed their examination. And none of the ladies we would have been in a critical condition.
Mrs. Marvel Charlton Brown, the principal of Hampton School. The motor vehicle crash occurred on the Holland Bamboo Main Road. Images seen by a news centre show a mangled motor car and a coaster bus with a windscreen missing.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute. Classes at all public schools were suspended in Antigua and Bermuda on Monday. This after the Antigua and Barbuda Union of Teachers Abbott continued industrial action over what it says is the government's failure to settle long-standing payments and respect collective bargaining agreements. In a release to the public, the Ministry of Education noted that children should remain at home until all outstanding matters with the union are settled and a notice of resumption of classes is issued. The disruption did not affect students who sat CSEC examinations on Monday. Meanwhile, Abbott President Casroy Charles says the industrial action, which began on May 2, will continue until the teachers' demands are met. It's understood the matter concerns unpaid arrears dating back to 2018, including travel, telephone and technical vocational allowances, as well as ex gratia payments owed to heads of department. Charles said that despite assurances, the Ministry of Education is yet to honor its obligations.
A former hotel security guard was the first witness in the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs in New York on Monday. The witness says he was investigating a woman in distress call when he discovered Combs with a devilish stare and the hip-hop mogul's ex-girlfriend, Cassie, with a purple eye. Combs is charged with sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. In opening statements, the defense says Combs has been violent, but his relationships were consensual and part of a swinger's lifestyle. The prosecution alleges Combs used violence and exerted power over Cassie and another woman to coerce them to participate in sex parties he called freak-offs. Combs has denied all the charges. If found guilty, he could spend the rest of his life in prison.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories in nationwide news at this hour. Grief and relief as suspected child killer Giovanni Ellis is cut down by the police in Sandy Bay in Clarendon.
Tears flowed as Kelsey Farragon's schoolmates at St. John's Primary grieve her passing.
The police say Ellis was shot dead after he refused to surrender.
And Lurleen Williams, Ellis's mother, says she's relieved that her son is dead.
Me can't have no hard fear because I will do the little baby. I'm not lying. I feel relieved.
Hampton school students injured in crash sit their exam in hospital, but they have since been released from the hospital. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
How are this
For
on my
more
TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or
Here ya,
scan
baby.
the QR code on screen.
Deepfake. No deepfake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you? One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently? But
But Miss Pat not like ask people for things.
And as so comes, Judy gets suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor to go check pan her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deep fake.
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait, I really want dege dumpling here, give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Now, the long season of Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League football will come to an end for two more teams tonight at Sabina Park. It's the second legs of the quarterfinals. The defending champions Cavalier and Portmore United will try to break their 1-1 deadlock in the 6 o'clock kickoff. And in the second game, scheduled to kick off at 9 o'clock, Montego Bay United will take a 2-1 lead in their game against Tivoli Gardens. Coach of Treasure Beach, Kemar Ricketts, says they'll not deviate from the formula that got them promoted to the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League for the upcoming 2025-26 season. The St. Elizabeth-based team returns to the country's top flight after beating Med Forest 1-0 in the return leg semi-final of the JFF Jamaica Football Federation Championships for a 1-0 aggregate win on the weekend. It was a swift return for Treasure Beach, who were relegated from the Premier League last season.
We must look and learn. We look at the other teams that are doing well, and not just 1 year, but over a period of time, and what kind of a recipe has worked for them. And we see where youth has been bringing them a lot of success. All right? Youthfulness brought us to the Premier League and have us 16 games unbeaten. So why move away from that? If we want to generate success on and off the pitch, and this is what we have to do. We must get in some of the brightest talents, our emerging talents that can maybe bring us outside income, outside of the other players that we'll be recruiting. We must have this kind of approach so we can have stability and longevity.
Ricketts says discipline will be key to their survival in the Premier League.
There's another thing to be looked at, structure, managerial structure, the staffing, everything. We have to find the right balance, and that has to do with the age group of the players, to the mindset of the players. It's something that we're working hard at. We have already started the work. Discipline has to be at the foundation of our structure going into the Premier League. The aim is to really get stability of staying in the Premier League. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We just want to arrive to the league and try our best to compete and not to just participate.
Kemar Ricketts, Spanish Town Police, are the other team to be promoted to the Premier League. It's a major achievement for the St. Catherine-based club, which was formed in 1977.
We will have to, import some players because the Premier League is really high-quality games, that being played by the clubs. So for us to be competitive, we have to get our best foot forward. But I must say this, though. I do want to have a youthful group of players. And I say youthful, I don't want no 35 years old and 45. Because this is a youth program. The oldest man on my team is about 24.
That's Gibo, Coach Stanley Gardner from Spanish Town Police. The JDF and Augustown will contest the final of the Casafa Ray and Nephew Major League the Championship League this weekend. The Army men beat Olympic Gardens 2-1 to book their spot in the championship game. Meanwhile, Augustown stopped Constant Spring 5-4 on penalties after the teams played out a 1-1 draw after regular and extra time. In the Major League semi-finals, Red Hills defeated Corville Gardens 9-8 on penalties after a 1-1 regular and extra time scoreline, and Seaview Gardens advanced to the final with a 5-4 penalty shootout win over New Kingston. Former Italian international Carlo Ancelotti is leaving arguably the most high-profile coaching job in world club football to the most high-profile at the international level. Ancelotti has agreed to take over as head coach of the Brazil national team when his time in charge at the Spanish Giants Real Madrid comes to an end this month. He's under contract with Madrid until next year, but it's expected to be terminated at the end of the season. Brazil's Soccer Federation said on Monday it has a deal with Ancelotti eyeing the 2026 World Cup. The 65-year-old, who will be Brazil's first full-time foreign coach in a century, is still under contract, as I mentioned, with Real Madrid. The last round of the Spanish League will be on May 25, and the Brazilian Football Federation said in a statement that he will officially take over Brazil the following day, that's May 26. Ancelotti will take the charge of the Brazil national team, and there are 2 fixtures in the World Cup, the South American qualifier, with his debut at Ecuador on June 5. And 5 days later, in front of the home team in Asunción in Paraguay, he'll now take on Dorival Jr. He's replacing Junior, who held the job for 14 months and was fired in March after a 4-1 defeat to Argentina. Brazil lags in 4th place in World Cup qualifying after 14 matches, and as its 33-year-old star Neymar still in difficulties to return to top form after an ACL injury in 2023, the top 6 teams will secure a direct spot in next year's World Cup tournament. And finally, in sports at this time, tell you what, let's leave this one till our next sportscast or major at 6:05 this evening.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
In Jamaica, your rights are protected by our Constitution. From the right to education to freedom of expression, every citizen deserves respect and dignity. But remember, with rights come responsibilities. Let's uplift and respect each other and stand against injustice. Together, we can make Jamaica a better place for ourselves and future generations. Know your rights. Embrace your responsibilities. This message was brought to you by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
Make a toast to your future. The JTA Cooperative Credit Union is by your side. All educators, the best is what you deserve.
We'll keep your dreams alive.
Competitive loans to help you grow.
We'll take you higher.
Great returns on your savings.
Yeah.
A bright future is in the making.
Build the best you with the best credit union. We are committed to serving you.
The JTA Cooperative Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
Plug into the sun with Peak Energy Solutions. We are your affordable provider for everything solar. Grid tie or off-grid solar P systems, solar air conditioners, panels, lithium batteries, solar supplies, and installation. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hills, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
It's only 5 days. 5 days of drive-away deals with ultra-low prices on a new Mazda. Up to $2 million off or top-of-the-line Mazda. Enjoy the super comfortable CX-30 or CX-60. Step up to the new family 3-row Mazda CX-90. Level up to executive motors now and steer into incredible savings. Up to $2 million off. Don't miss out. 5 days only. Visit us now at 8 Moresco Road, Kingston, or call 92 Mazda. Find us online at MazdaJA.com. Conditions apply.
Answer's Mother's Day sale up to 70% off. Up to 70% off the best brands for mom. Answer's Gifts and Home, Tropical Plaza, and Answer's for Children, Tropical Plaza and Sovereign Center. Answer's Mother's Day sale till May 17, 2025.
A mother's journey of love shared from generation to generation. Give her the ultimate relaxation and escape to Adam and Eve Day Spa and Salon for a mommy-made new experience this Mother's Day, Sunday, May 11. Book now at www.adamandeve.dayspaja.com. Purchase gift certificates or call 876-754-6018. Get mom the perfect gift of love. This Mother's Day, let Team Adam and Eve take her on a spa journey. She deserves it.
It's $1 million summer with Mitsubishi. And if I reach, we go, we have to reach it. Triton, cross it to safe and easy. Expander, link up Pochi week. It's $1 million summer with Mitsubishi. L200 with space and seating. Comfortable, it's a Mitsubishi. Hey, it's a Mitsubishi. It's $1 million off. Them 3 ride. Features nice with the leather inside. Cool AC, everybody feel right. It's $1 million summer. $1 million summer.
Conditions apply.
It's only 5 days. 5 days of drive-away deals with ultra-low prices on a new Mazda. Up to $2 million off or top-of-the-line Mazda. Enjoy the super comfortable CX-30 or CX-60. Step up to the new family 3-row Mazda CX-90. Level up to executive motors now and steer into incredible savings. Up to $2 million off. Don't miss out. 5 days only. Visit us now at 8 Moresco Road, Kingston, or call 92 Mazda. Find us online at MazdaJA.com. Conditions apply.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Save fast and accepted in more locations.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good afternoon, Siobhan.
Good afternoon, Sir Hughes.
Well, in our cover story this afternoon, grief and relief throughout much of the country this afternoon. This after the main suspect in the brutal killing of 9-year-old Kelsey Ferrigan met his maker this morning. And Kelsey's peers and teachers grieved her passing at her school. She was a grade 4 student at St. John's Primary in St. Catherine.
A rather disheartening day, but moving tributes were left on her desk by her friends and teachers. We will be showing you some of those pictures on YouTube. One note read, "Dear Kelsey, I love you so much." Another one read, "You are the best."
Kelsey reportedly excelled at school where she was on the mathematics relay team. And her vice principal at St. John's Primary, Rosina Slater, said the students were in shock this morning.
Don't even have a 9-year-old. The whole idea of it, the fact that it is a child, a small child, there's so much potential and all of that is just lost unnecessarily.
How do you cope with such a thing that happened?
Well, hope, we rest on each other, we pray, because only God knows. So we try to bond together and we try to especially support the children as best as possible, because we don't know what their trauma or how they will respond to the trauma of what has happened. But based on what has happened, as the need arise, we seek to sort them out.
Right. Okay. This morning, how was the devotion? I understand that she is on the afternoon shift.
Well, the devotion was mainly about self and affirming self, and for them to remember that they have worth. And the police came and they prayed for them and things like that. But some of the children were hearing for the first time because when the news broke, the school name was not mentioned. So I think the name was mentioned only yesterday into this morning. So some of them are just realizing that, hey, this girl I've been hearing about all weekend really belongs to us. So some know her, some live where she lives, some are related to her, even though they are on different shifts. So there are mixed reactions to the news, but most of them are in shock. Hey, really? And that is expected because you're hearing things, but when it comes home to you, it has a different effect. And I think that is, but the teachers are here. We have already planned and know that we are going to have to offer as much support to any child that needs it. And we also have our guidance counselor. So I asked the teacher that if any child is experiencing any undue stress, to just have them come down. to have some time with the counselor.
And you'd also encourage the parents to do the same, words of encouragement.
Yeah, because guess what? Hey, this is my school. They're like, oh, I wonder if this could happen to me. But parents just have to do their part because everybody's job is important. You have to take care of your children. They are all our babies and we treat them as such.
That's Rosina Slater. She's the Vice Principal of St. John's Primary School in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, where Kelsey was a student. She was speaking with Nationwide's Robian Williams. And head of the Area 5 Police, that's ACP Christopher Phillips, says Giovanni Ellis was shot and killed after several attempts for him to surrender peacefully fell on deaf ears. ACP Phillips was speaking at Kelsey's school earlier on Monday.
It's really another sad occasion. In fact, I was saying to Mr. Nicholson earlier that it seems as if, we're set to deal with these cases, because over in St. Catherine South, if you recall Daniel Rose incident and the kind of leadership that we had to bring to that scenario, and now we have a repeat. Somewhat a repeat. But I stand before you today with a heavy heart, acknowledging the tragic loss of Kelsey Ferrigan, a student of this school. I went into the classroom earlier, and the truth is I was overcome with emotions. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is deeply saddened by this incident, and our thoughts and prayers are with the family, friends, and loved ones of Kelsey. As the area commander, I did give the assurance and the commitment that the police will do everything in our power to bring the perpetrator to justice. I want to assure you that the investigation has been tense, continue to be tense, and we have been working tirelessly to bring the perpetrator to justice. Today I bring an update on the investigation. That investigation led a team from St. Catherine North into the Clarendon area, where Giovanni Ellis, the person of interest in Kelsey's murder, was fatally shot in the parliamentary district of Sandy Bay in Clarendon earlier today. Ellis reportedly pointed a pistol at the St. Catherine North team, and the weapon was subsequently seized after police took evasive action. We did make several calls and pleas for Ellis to turn himself in, but unfortunately he decided otherwise. We do understand the concerns and fears that this incident has raised, and we want to reassure the community that we are committed to ensuring the safety and security of all residents. And earlier I was inquiring about the relationship between St. John's and where more reports are being made of sexual offenses against children, and often with close family members and friends being implicated. I want to renew our call for a more effective application of the use of the Sexual Offenders Registry as a tool to prevent such heinous crime. We urge everyone to be proactive in reporting any suspicious behavior or concerns about the safety of our children. To the school community and residents, we want to encourage you to remain strong and resilient in the face of this tragedy. We reaffirm the police's commitment to safety and security, and we pledge to work even harder to ensure that our communities are safe and secure for all.
That's Assistant Commissioner Christopher Phillips. But just before we go to the break, Siobhan, listeners, Kelsey's gone. We'll never be able to get her back. But we must remember her. Yes? give her meaning. And some of her schoolmates did just that this morning. As they wrote, "Dear Kelsey, I love you so much." Another one wrote, "You are the best." And then we learned from her teachers that she was a model student and scholar. She was a leader. She was on the maths relay team for the school. She won a medal. This was a girl with a bright future. Bright future.
Lost at the age of 9.
Time for the break.
Burnt fried chicken, always ready. Burnt Shack, original crispy. Burnt Shack, Cajun spicy. Burnt Shack, a barbecue. Burnt Shack, we are go Burnt Shack.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay, and Ochivios is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston. It's the same out west in Montego Bay.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jack and my figure dig the wall.
Upper total tools.
Beat back a figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total tools.
We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option. Total Tools located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Sly Road, Kingston. And lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
It's only 5 days. 5 days of drive-away deals with ultra-low prices on a new Mazda. Up to $2 million off or top-of-the-line Mazda. Enjoy the super comfortable CX-30 or CX-60. Step up to the new family 3-row Mazda CX-90. Level up to executive motors now and steer into incredible savings. Up to $2 million off. Don't miss out. 5 days only. Visit us now at 8 Maruska Road, Kingston, or call 92-MAZDA. Find us online at MazdaJA.com. Conditions apply.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to the cover story. We are discussing the tragic death of 9-year-old Kelsey Farragon. Our media team, or reporter here actually, Nationwide News, visited Kelsey's school this morning. That is St. John's Primary in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, where she brought back the audio and visuals of what has been tragic day for that school community. We had earlier with us ACP Chris, not with us, but we had a video of ACP Christopher Phillips, who also visited the school, discussing the death of a person of interest in the murder of Kelsey Ferguson, that is Giovanni Ellis. And now we have a further discussion here from Ellis's mother, Lurleen Williams, who says she feels relieved that he's dead. She was speaking with members of the media earlier today.
Well, me that expect so when me look on him, me that go feel sad, feel breakdown like a little, but no. When me look on him, and say, this is the way you want to go, eh? If you're a young youth, we are 30 years old, and you got charges, look at you now. That's what me said to him. Me know him not here, you know. Me know him not here.
But you feel compelled to say these things?
But yes, I feel compelled to say it. And everybody stand up and look at me like, really? The mother come and she attack like that and no tears, no little remorse, no. No, me can't have no hard fear because of where you do the little baby.
Would you say you were feeling relieved?
Yes, I'm not lying, yes. I am feel relieved. When me get when me get all the news, me still never believe, but when the police them come for me, say yes, it's true.
So were you able to positively identify that?
Yes, man. But me never did have to even look on his face. From me see from me I go and me see his head. I say I am Officer Smith. I am.
Alright. Where were you this morning and what format did you get the news and what was your first reaction when you hear that?
Well, me say thank you God because me can't sleep tonight. Me can't eat some food today.
Moments before he was killed on Monday morning, Miss Williams called for her son to be put to death.
Right now, if this go out to the public, anyway, you catch him, you kill him. Anybody at all catch him, kill him.
The police advising against jungle justice.
Really? Me ask the police, say, really, under that catch a man like that and carry me for them taxpayers' money? Miss, when me see him, I couldn't recognize him, we and get fat. In a jail in there and get fat, but in there road, fat and look good, so. He might get 3 meals a day, sometimes he even have one for the day.
So you wouldn't want for them to bring him in?
Him no fi go in alive, miss. Miss, him no fi go in alive. And me give birth to him, and me attack that. Him no fi go in alive. Okay. Me tell that to the police, them pan them face, and tell them, say, if me face him, me a kill him. Because me not make him force me and kill me. Because no him bring me come here, and me bring him come here. And before me make him kill me, me kill him.
On that note, are you fearful of him?
Yes, I am. Even my little son you see here, very fearful because we hear a lot of things. Say him have gun, him have all kinds of things. We're fearful of that because we not have none and we not have nobody for back with that way there. Yeah, we only have to depend on the police. Yeah, we're fearful because with knife and machete we can't face gun with knife and machete. Because we still can't face him and still win.
What did you do to go into jail?
And they live with one girl, and they deal with one girl. The girl have one little girl. He broke up the baby too and he beat up a girl.
So that's what he was in jail for?
Yes, because the girl carried the baby because no him alone, no she and him did their jail. Because she carried the baby down to the hospital and left the baby and left the baby.
This was what, some years ago?
Yes, some years ago because over 2 years he's supposed to be in a lockup for.
I heard a very sad incident about something that he did to his family member, his own family member.
Yes. And he got the time and come out.
As in he went to prison?
He went to prison.
You feel like people like these, they should keep in prison?
No, them fi kill them. Government for bringing back corporal punishment.
You feel like yeah?
Yes. All police will him know them fi
death penalty and so.
Right. You're gonna make him stay in the till what? Tell him all angry and dead in there, eat and drink and happy. Him go happy in there, you know? Because he might get 3 meals a day, miss. Then go to give him clothes, soap, food and everything. He don't have nothing to worry about.
I know we want to...
Lurleen Williams, there, the mother of Giovanni Ellis.
I know we want to go to Robbie and Mr. Hughes, but even more than this tragedy, when I had to do a double take to see if I was reading that right, because I cannot imagine that, and you know me, I'm very much a mother's boy, and I cannot imagine the day, despite any differences I've ever had with my mother over the years, the day it could get to a point where she said, I wish you were dead.
Yeah. Yeah, for a mom to say that, it means that it's worse than worser. Robian, you have been on this story since early morning. And that interview with Miss Williams, when you're a mother yourself and you heard her there, yeah? What was that like?
It was shocking. As Siobhan said, never would you ever imagine for a mother to be so outright about something, but she has had enough. And it's evident that she was at the point where she had enough.
Mm-hmm. Even when you said to her, we're not in for jungle justice.
Yeah, she was adamant that this is what she wanted. Her cup was full and running over. Her cup was full and running over. And at the point where she said that if him go to jail, if him go to prison, him only go fat. Because she said that she hadn't seen him. She didn't even know that he was offered bail or granted bail. Because she don't know who granted him bail. She says she nor the father don't go. But somebody went.
Yeah.
And he was granted bail. She didn't even know that he was offered bail. She said when she see him, she never knows him because he was fat. So to the point where she said that she doesn't want for him to go behind bars again.
She wanted him dead. And then she also said she didn't raise him.
No,
his father did.
His father did.
Yeah, because they had an abusive relationship?
Yes, she told me that it was an abusive relationship and she had to leave, but it was that the father took him from her. But she said that, it's a little family history, a little family history there. But she shared it with me nonetheless, and she said that she didn't leave him. The father took her to court and took him from her.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's play the last clip there with her saying she had no contact with Giovanni over the years as he was banned from her house. The very last one.
Tell you the truth, I can't give much explanation, but I know I'm not good somebody because if he can look for me and tell me, say, me and my mother, I'm my father married to my mother, I'm not nobody to him. He hate me, he cuss me, he tell me some word of me, even can't tell you over the media. But all my sister will go up on media and talk about me know when they, me condole with him and me back him. She a wicked and she a liar.
So for the record, you don't know where he is?
I don't know when they. Last night me send they a Falmouth, them will him a Falmouth beat him and the police protection hospital. Me hear from one of the media say, in the Harbour View, how much place me here say him there. I don't have a clue. Because me and my brother them in here, so I have nothing to do it. Alright, stick up in. Whosoever bail him and post a bail, if me did love him so much all the wrongs doing with him I do. Me know that bail him. Me know here so him would live. He would not forget people, yeah, don't it? And in a family house are few yard when they come if we did condole with it. In Banfralisa yard over more than 10 years. When do we as family, mother, him uncle them, when do we as family in Banfire so can come here. So when we see him Friday, the two women then can tell you come here. I run him out. I say you know if you come here so you know belong here so. Go on where you go and when he step off of the veranda, I don't know which way in turn. If he turn so or in turn so.
Wow. Ruby, that was Lurleen Williams, mother of Giovanni Ellis, but we cannot finish without speaking to what you learned about Kelsey Ferrigan, that 9-year-old girl.
An amazing student, a scholar at best. That's how the teacher described her, a problem solver. She loved working. She loved her peers. She was an amazing student. I asked her teacher, Ms. Coburn, to send me a picture of some of her work that she has done, and I'm awaiting those photos of what she has been doing. But she says that she's a scholar. When you go into the room, when you enter the room, there's a wall.
Yes.
Top speller, and Kelsey is on that wall.
Oh, her name It's on the
Her
wall.
picture
Oh.
is on that wall.
So she's one of the top spellers in the
She's
class.
one of the top spellers. She's a top achiever.
And she was a part of the mathematics relay team.
Yes, and she won a medal recently, and we had that picture up earlier. Yes, we have that picture up on our YouTube. She was a very promising child.
And a leader.
A leader.
The Miss Coburn, her
Yes.
teacher, said that she would come and tell her that, listen, so-and-so may not have lunch. Or,
Yeah, and she would share her lunch. Very, very heartrending. Very, very.
Thank you so much for your reporting throughout the day, Ruby.
Yes.
And we want to say thanks. Excellent reporting by yourself and Kimali Rowe. Thank you. That's a cover story.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. There was a somber and emotionally charged atmosphere at St. John's Primary School in Spanish Town, St. Catherine on Monday, where 9-year-old Kelsey Farragon was a student. Kelsey was brutally murdered sometime between 1 and 8 p.m. last Friday. Kelsey's class teacher, Miss Candice Coburn, described her as a model student.
Kelsey, all the positive words you could think of. She's a leader. I appointed her to be the group leader for our group. She's always someone who you would come to find a solution to try and fix a problem that's happening in the class. Kelsey was so quiet. She was so quiet. She didn't shout. She's kind. She would normally walk around and check on the other students. If someone is not eating, that's Kelsey. She's going to come and tell me, and she's going to say, Miss Coburn, this boy is not eating. He said this or he said that. I don't know if he spent off the lunch money, but that's what he said. And she would share her lunch with the person.
Miss Coburn says Kelsey was often paired with other students to help with various school activities due to her helpful nature. She noted that grieving will be difficult for the entire school community.
We have a strong school family behind us, and the guidance department is always working, so it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. As you can see, those are our closest peers from they came in. Even mommy told me on the weekend that it's so hard for them. They have a little clique. They won't ever see her again. Yeah, and just looking at the empty spot, that's the hardest.
Candice Coburn, teacher of 9-year-old Kelsey Farragon. Meanwhile, Commander of Area 5, ACP Christopher Phillips, says Giovanni Ellis was shot dead after several attempts to get him to surrender peacefully fell on deaf ears.
Investigation led a team from St. Catherine North into the Clarendon area, where Giovanni Ellis, the person of interest in Kelsey's murder, was fatally shot in the parliamentary district of Sandy Bay in Clarendon earlier today. Ellis reportedly pointed a pistol at the St. Catherine North team, and the weapon was subsequently seized after police took evasive action. We did make several calls and pleas for Ellis to turn himself in, but unfortunately he decided otherwise.
Ellis was also said to be a repeat offender who was out on bail. ACP Phillips is calling for the sex offenders registry to be used effectively in preventing an increase in sexual crimes against the nation's children.
More reports are being made of sexual offences against children, and often close family members and friends being implicated. I want to renew our call for a more effective application of the use of the Sexual Offenders Registry as a tool to prevent such heinous crime. We urge everyone to be proactive in reporting any suspicious behavior or concerns about the safety of our children.
ACP Christopher Phillips, Area 5 Commander. And the mother of Giovanni Ellis, Lurleen Williams, says she feels relieved that her son is dead. Shortly before his death, Miss Williams called for him to be eliminated. Hours later, she had to identify his body.
Well, me that expect that when me look on him, me that go feel sad, feel breakdown like a little, but no. When me look on him, me look on him and say, this is the way you want to go, eh? If you're a young youth, we are 30-year-old, and you got charges, look at you now. That's what me said to him. Me know him not here, you know. Me know him not here, but I feel compelled to say it. And everybody stand up and look at me like, really? The mother come and she attack like that and no tears, no little remorse, no. No, me can't have no heart for you because of where you do the little baby.
Would you say you are feeling relieved?
I'm not lying, yes. I am feel relieved.
Lurleen Williams, mother of Giovanni Ellis, speaking with reporters. In other news now, students of Hampton School in St. Elizabeth who were involved in a motor vehicle crash on Monday have been released from the Black River Hospital. Principal of Hampton, Marvel Charlton Brown, confirmed the details with our news center.
We had 14 ladies who were involved in the motor vehicle accident this morning, and all 14 were transported to the Black River Hospital. They were treated, and under about an hour ago, they were released. The 4 ladies who needed to sit their CSET exams have completed their examination. And none of the ladies we would have been in a critical condition.
The motor vehicle crash occurred on the Holland Bamboo Main Road. Images seen by our news center show a mangled motor car and a coaster bus with the windscreen missing. Ms. Charlton Brown says one of the students will have to do a follow-up with the hospital based on the injury she received.
They have been received by their parents or guardians who were contacted individually by the teachers who were on site. We know that there's one other student who will have to do some follow-up because she would have sustained injury to her teeth. Some of her teeth would have been affected, but arrangements are being made through the hospital for the follow-up care.
Marvel Charlton Brown, principal of Hampton School. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education says it was able to obtain urgent approval from the Overseas Examinations Commission to deliver the examination papers to the Black River Hospital. The ministry says a vice principal and an authorized invigilator were sent to the location. It says the hospital provided a secure space for the administration of the examination. Education officers and a team of guidance counselors have been deployed to Hampton School and Monroe College to offer psychological and emotional support to students and staff. The motor vehicle crash involved 14 students of Hampton and 3 from Monroe College. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smichael. Sports is next.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10 or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
It's only 5 days. 5 days of drive-away deals with ultra-low prices on a new Mazda. Up to $2 million off or top-of-the-line Mazda. Enjoy the super comfortable CX-30 or CX-60. Step up to the new family 3-row Mazda CX-90. Level up to executive motors now and steer into incredible savings. Up to $2 million off. Don't miss out. 5 days only. Visit us now at 8 Moresco Road, Kingston, or call 92 Mazda. Find us online at MazdaJA.com. Conditions apply.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. They just kicked off at Sabina Park, the second leg of quarterfinal 1 today in the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League. It's between the champions Cavalier and Portmore United, and that tie is locked up at 1 apiece. The winners will go on to take on Arnett Gardens in the semi-finals. And coming up later on tonight at 9 o'clock, it will be Montego Bay United against Tivoli. That game, that tie, is at the moment in Montego Bay's court because they lead by 2-1 on that first leg quarterfinal. So it's goalless between Cavalier and Portmore United. It's a 1-1 overall, but goalless at the moment in that Ray and Nephew Premier League quarterfinal first leg just kicked off at Sabina Park. Coach of Treasure Beach, Kemar Rickett, says they'll not deviate from the formula that got them promoted to the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League for the upcoming 25-26 season. The St. Elizabeth-based team returns to the country's top flight after beating Med Forest 1-0 in the return leg semi-final of the Jamaica Football Federation Championships for a 1-0 aggregate win on the weekend. It was a swift return for Treasure Beach, who were relegated from the nation's top flight last season.
We must look and learn. We look at the other teams that are doing well, and not just 1 year, but over a period of time, and what kind of a recipe has worked for them. And we see where youth has been bringing them a lot of success. Right? Youthfulness brought us to the Premier League and have us 16 games unbeaten. So why move away from that? If we want to generate success on and off the pitch, and this is what we have to do. We must get in some of the brightest talents, our emerging talents that can maybe bring us outside income, outside of the other players that we'll be recruiting. We must have this kind of approach so we can have stability and longevity.
Rickett says discipline will be key to their survival in the Premier League.
There's another thing to be looked at, structure, managerial structure, the staffing, everything. We have to find the right balance, and that has to do with the age group of the players, to the mindset of the players. It's something that we're working hard at. We have already started the work. Discipline has to be at the foundation of our structure going into the Premier League. The aim is to really get stability of staying in the Premier League. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We just want to arrive to the league and try our best to compete and not to just participate.
Kemar Rickett. Spanish Town Police are the other team to be promoted to the Premier League. It's a major achievement for the St. Catherine-based club, which was formed in 1977.
We will have to, import some players because the Premier League is really high quality games, that being played by the clubs. So for us to be competitive, we have to get our best foot forward. But I must say this though, I do want to have a youthful group of players. And I say youthful, I don't want no 35 years old and 45. Because this is a youth program. The oldest man on my team is about 24.
Coach Stanley Gordon. JDF and Augustown will contest the final of the Casafa Ray and Nephew Championship League this weekend. The Army men beat Olympic Gardens 2-1 to book their place in the final. Meanwhile, Augustown stopped Constant Spring 5-4 on penalties after the teams played out a 1-1 draw at the end of regular and extra time. In the Major League semi-finals, Red Hills beat Corville Gardens 9-8 on penalties after playing out a 1-1 draw at the end of regular and extra time. And the Seaview Gardens advanced to the final with a 5-4 penalty shootout victory over New Kingston. Former Italian international Carlo Ancelotti is leaving arguably the most high-profile coaching job in world club football to the most high-profile at the international level. Ancelotti has agreed to take over as head coach of the Brazilian national men's team when his time in charge at the Spanish giants Real Madrid comes to an end this month. He's under contract with Real Madrid until next year, but it's expected to be terminated at the end of the season. Brazil's Soccer Federation said on Monday it has a deal with Ancelotti, eyeing the 2026 World Cup. The 65-year-old Ancelotti, who will be Brazil's first full-time foreign coach in a century, is still under contract with Madrid. The last round of the Spanish League will be on May 25, and the Brazilian Football Federation said in a statement that he will officially take over the football team on May 26. Ancelotti will take charge of Brazil's next two fixtures in South American World Cup qualifying, with his debut at Ecuador on June 5 and 5 days later in front of his home crowd at Sao Paulo, and that game will come up against Paraguay. Jamaica's senior men's hockey team qualified for the 2026 CSC Games despite a narrow and frustrating 2-1 loss to Guatemala in their final match of the 2025 CSC qualifiers in Mexico on Sunday. Technical Director of the Jamaica Hockey Federation, Dr. Michelle Holt, says although the defeat was not the ending of the team was hoping for, they succeeded in achieving the tournament's main goal, that of securing the spot in the CSC Games for the Domrec next year.
We're not necessarily as razor sharp as we want to, but we've been improving as the tournaments go by and we get more international matches under our belt. We've been improving in terms of being able to, at this altitude, run the full 4 quarters. A disadvantage that the team is that we only have 16 players where every other roster has 18 players. So we have fewer players to rotate.
Dr. Michelle Holt, technical director, and she says the tournament was plagued by inconsistent officiating.
The officiating has not been to the level that it needs to be. We've seen umpires who've been at this tournament, at these qualifiers before, and they haven't improved, and they're affecting the outcomes of games.
Dr. Michelle Holt, Jamaica take pride in qualifying for the CSC Games, where they'll compete alongside the regional heavy hitters like Trinidad and Tobago, Cuba, Mexico, and the Domrep, as well as Barbados, Venezuela, and Guatemala. Legendary Indian batter Virat Kohli has announced his immediate retirement from Test cricket. His decision comes before this summer's 5-Test tour of England, which starts on June 20 and follows Captain Rohit Sharma's retirement last Wednesday. Kohli has played 123 tests for India and scored 9,230 runs. He retired from T20 internationals in 2024 after India's World Cup victory, but is expected to continue playing in one-day international cricket. After making his Test debut against West Indies in 2011, Kohli went on to captain India in 68 of his tests with his 40 wins in charge, making him the country's most successful leader in the format. Kohli has long been regarded as one of the 4 batting greats of this era, alongside England's Joe Root, Australia's Steve Smith, and New Zealand's Kane Williamson. He has scored 30 Test centuries. Only Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, and Sunil Gavaskar have scored more Test runs for India than Kohli, while he has the most centuries for India as a captain, 20. But his most recent Test ton, 100 not out in the first Test against Australia in November, was his first in 15 innings across 16 months. During that series, he scored 190 runs in 9 innings. Only 3 tons have come in 39 Tests since January of 2020. The Indian Premier League will resume on Saturday after being suspended because of the hostilities between India and Pakistan. The world's biggest franchise league was halted for a week on Friday, but will recommence following the brokering of a ceasefire last Saturday. The final was initially due to take place on May 25 and has been pushed back to June 3, meaning the end of the IPL will clash with England's white ball series against West Indies. At the time of the suspension, 16 fixtures were outstanding. All 16 have been rescheduled, along with the game between Punjab Kings and Delhi Capitals, which was abandoned on Thursday because of floodlight failure in Dharamsala. 6 venues will be used for the new program: Bengaluru, Jaipur, Delhi, Lucknow, Ahmedabad, and Mumbai. And finally, in sports at this time, Minister of Sports Olivia Grange has issued a statement expressing her condolences to the family of table tennis stalwart Gary Royce, who passed away recently. In the statement, Minister Grange said, quote, "It is with deep sadness that I extend heartfelt condolences to Mrs. Kristen Dobson Royce, her son Logan, and the entire Royce family on the untimely passing of Mr. Gary Royce." The statement went on to say Mr. Royce was more than a parent. He was a pillar of unwavering support to the youth in our sporting community, a devoted father to Logan, a national junior champ and proud Jamaica College student who recently returned from Barbados as a member of the third place under-15 Caribbean Championships team. Minister Grange also said Gary was always present and cheering from the sidelines, capturing the moments and quietly doing the work that often goes unseen but never appreciated. She said Gary Royce served as a dedicated videographer, capturing countless matches without ever asking for anything in return. He was also known for his kindness and generosity, repairing rackets, assisting players, and always making representation to me on behalf of the Jamaica Table Tennis Association and making himself available for all without hesitation. On behalf of the entire sports department here at Nationwide 90 FM, we also extend our sincere condolences to the family and friends of the late Gary Royce. That's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Be part of something meaningful. The third annual Stories to Create charity golf tournament tees off July 19 at the Constant Spring Golf Course, and we're inviting title sponsors and presenting sponsors to help us drive impact. This high-energy event supports EHAS Inc. and its mission to empower youth through storytelling, mentorship, and education. With media coverage, brand visibility, and community goodwill, this is more than just sponsorship. It's partnership with purpose. Secure your sponsorship today. Contact EHAS Inc. at 876-836-3014 and let's create a story worth telling.
It's only 5 days. 5 days of drive-away deals with ultra-low prices on a new Mazda. Up to $2 million off or top-of-the-line Mazda. Enjoy the super comfortable CX-30 or CX-60. Step up to the new family 3-row Mazda CX-90. Level up to executive motors now and steer into incredible savings. Up to $2 million off. Don't miss out. 5 days only. Visit us now at 8 Moresco Road, Kingston, or call 92 Mazda. Find us online at mazdaja.com. Conditions apply.
I bust the windows out your car, and no, it didn't mend my broken heart.
Relationships are like sweet strawberries when everything is going well. The heart is full of love and you're under a spell. But what happens when the love is diminished and the relationship is finished? How many stories have you heard about exes doing the absurd after a partner went on their merry way and they're upset to this very day? Do you think instead of making a stink, it is better to be prudent like a good student and learn the lessons of life, even though it cuts like a knife? Join me, Rodney Campbell, every Tuesday from 9 to 10:30 p.m. for Affairs of the Heart, right here on Nationwide 90 FM. This Tuesday's topic, the bitter shake-up that comes after the breakup. You did what?
I bust the windows out your car, and no, it didn't mend my broken heart.
Affairs of the Heart is brought to you by Supermed Pharmacy. Super happy, super healthy, Supermed. The Ministry of Health and Wellness. Healthy people, healthy environment. Viewers, here's to the story.
ICMS Limited. Yes, we can bring in the money.
And Durex, distributed by Massey Distribution Limited, Jamaica.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening and welcome to Public Opinion. Special good evening to our friends over on YouTube. We invite you to weigh in live on the comments on today's Public Opinion. I'm Mahiri Stewart. So Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the brutal murder of a 9-year-old girl, Kelsey Cassidy Farragon, in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, has again raised the question of whether the sex offenders registry should be made public. Farragon was brutally murdered sometime between 1 and 8 p.m. last Friday. It's also reported that the child may have been sexually assaulted. Dr. Holness visited her family on Sunday.
We have recently reformed the Bail Act, and we do have in place a sex offenders registry. But I think this incident requires that we take a second look on how we make this sex offenders registry available to the public so that the public can be armed with information to protect themselves. Yes, there are constitutional issues that we have to balance, but where we are in the society, I have said it before and I will say it again, that our laws need to favor the protection of life and the protection of the victim rather than trying to protect the criminals. It is time that the society draws a clear line that we must eliminate the criminals from our society. They mean you no good.
That's Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. So in public opinion this evening, we're asking, do you think the sex offender registry should be made public? Let's find out, man. Let's go over to Facebook. 35 comments. Let's take a look. Salome Paul says, if it's not made public, what would be the use of having a registry? We keep going. Cav says this shouldn't even be debatable, but then again, this is Jamaica, so it not gonna happen. Cheryl Griffiths says yes. Jermaine Donovan says, why just a sex offenders registry? Is that the only crime? Why not a crime registry? Don't you want to know if a criminal lives nearby? Obviously, anything the Americans do, Jamaicans feel obliged to follow. Sharice Bowen says, yes, give away them rights to privacy when them decide to be a molester. Edney Powell says, yes, the sex offender registry should be made public. Place it in the Jamaican Gazette. Can't see the reason for the sex offender registry and it's being held at the Department of Correction. Merlene Fraser says, long time this should have been implemented. Anthony Shakes says, yes, it should be made public. Richie Dixon says it should be changed to crime offenders registry because best believe if persons know who they are dealing with, things would have been a lot better. Winston says, why is this even a question? The justice system in Jamaica protects criminals too much. Librance Tucker says, all right, what's up here? Natalie Winter says, no, Jamaica is not ready for a sex offender registry, more so a public area or community to keep them. I guess they would have to guard the register and the area for them by calling in the army. Carlington Bartley says, this is a no-brainer. Knowledge is power. Nats Bruce says, we've been saying yes so many times, but our voices keep getting buried. Andrea Ann says, yes, what are they waiting on? J. Mal says, that information is needed from yesteryear. Bad English says, yes, the sex offenders registry should be made public to enhance community safety by informing residents of potential risks and to promote accountability among offenders, encouraging them to seek rehabilitation and comply with legal requirements. Mark Ranger says, yes. Anisha McNeil says, of course it should. Andrea Price, Cha Walford, Librance Tucker, Camille Virgo, Derek Muir, O'Brien Johnson, Karine Brown, Orel Daly, Charm Jello, Claire Martin, Derek Muir, they're all saying yes. Katie Ann Blair is also saying yes. Wainsworth Callum says, that's the reason for having a registry so that the public can be informed of such persons. So let's move on over to Instagram and see what there is to see. We asked people on Instagram, should the sex offenders registry be made public? And when we checked the Instagram comment section, here's what we saw. The first comment here says, yes, by Official Nia Music. Dark Mint says, yes, full time now. Jamaica is so backwards. Mish the Gemini says, yes. Ashley Clark says, yes. What else we have here? Sharika Allison says, yes. What else we have here? Tracy Johnson says, yes. Will Ryan Wilson says, yes. We have been calling for this for some time now. Sasha Salmon says, absolutely. We've been saying this for years now. Stardeck says, long time await. Long time I them await pun. Okay, there we go. Junior Nana says absolutely. Jets Queen says yes, it should. Lovely Dawkins says yes, citizens need to know who their neighbors are. Wevon Senchoy says definitely support the publication. Urban Posts, Lethal Man. Vessel of Humor, they all say yes. Braids by Cam 1, yes. G Money says yes. Godfrey B says long time. Cats WB23 says, yes, it's time we defend the victims and not the perpetrators. Hyacinth Coley says, yes, full time. Quan Chai says, yes, right now. All News JA says, yes, right now. All right, folks, so that's what we have so far on Instagram. What are the YouTubers saying? Let me take a look at what they're saying over there. So, going through, What's this? Kevin says, we have to be careful about making the sex offenders registry public. Our justice system convicts innocent accused sometimes, and by making it public, it is another damage to the innocents accused. Mikkel says, yes, it should be accessible. You need to know who among your community. All right. Howard Williams says, yes, it's published in the USA. Yes, yes, yes. Real Island Chef Patricia says, the sex offender registry must be made public in the library and supermarket. NIDS needed because every Jamaican have a yard name or alias, so photos needed. All right. Start Girl says, yes, 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 yes. 4 yeses. We scroll up. Let's see. David Nabar says, yes, please. Cheerful Bird says, yes, a long time that should be put in place. What else we have here? Still looking for more answers to read. What is this? Cynthia Matheson says, sex offender registry has to be made public. Defend the public and our precious children. That's Cynthia. What else is this? Dre View says, the registry is full of sexual deviants and we don't know who they are, only in Jamaica. Nadine Dockery says, yes, so as to protect the innocents. All right. There we have it, folks. Not all people are too fearful and violent, says Richard Lawrence. Miss Sale Sterling says, yes, that's a good thing. Chinbella says it should be displayed where they live. All right, what else do we have here? How many of these can I read? How many of these are even answers? Still going through the YouTube chat, seeing what people's opinion is on the question, should the sex offenders registry be made public? Yes, this should have been in place a long time ago, says Marlene P. Andre Oretz says, yes. Was this? Kevin says, what happens to the person you made public, then upon his appeal he found not guilty? The damage is already done. Kick Rock says, it's evident this is a long time issue in Jamaica. It's time to make the change and show this registry. Richard Lawrence says, not at all. Not in Jamaica. All right. But Maureen Mackenzie refutes that. She says, yes, the registry should be made public. What is this? Wear bangle to track them, says Marlene P. I am winning right now, says, yes, make the list public. Sick and tired of these monsters. Why are they being protected? Richard Lawrence says, nope, we are too unforgiving. People change. Well, I mean, Richard, let's be real now for a minute. Yeah, I mean, of course, people can change, but I mean, certainly if we were talking about pettier crimes like, petty theft or maybe, going to jail for running a red light or a traffic infringement. But surely something like sexual crimes deserves a bit more scrutiny when it comes to forgiving, right, Richard? I mean, that's my opinion, yeah? Let's go, man. What's this? Now people are asking if we're going to have registries for other types of crimes like drug dealing and embezzling and scamming. I mean, I saw people in the comments calling for that. Alex the Great says, only if the sex offender is convicted 2 or more times. That's the conditions in which Alex the Great would want to see a sex offender registry. What else we have here? I am winning right now again says, obviously the person must be found guilty before being placed on the registry. All right. Okay. Someone's reminding me I haven't read what's on X yet. Yes, so right. I went straight to the YouTubers, but let's take a look at what's going on over on X. I'm going to read a couple of those, and then we go back to the YouTubers if we have time. We have a couple answers here. On X, Nadine Dockery says, yes, absolutely. Public awareness will help protect innocent people. Javon Ramdin says, definitely. If it was up to me, I would tattoo sex offender on all of their foreheads. The Honorable Sally Portia says, yes, I believe that people have the right to know if a dangerous person is living close to them. Sinclair says, yes. Little Miss Choosing J.A. says, yes. Caitlin Clark, MVP season. Nice. Says, I don't know why it's being kept private. So that's what we have over on X, right? Karen Rizim says, what's the point of the registry if it's not public? My only concern is that if you say you're 19 and have a 16-year-old girlfriend and her parents don't like you, you may be convicted of a sexual offense. Well, I mean, them's the rules, man. Them's the rules, aren't they, Karen? What else we have here? What we have here? Miss Chin says it's about time. Too many of our children going out at such a tender age. How many of these did I miss when I was reading X? Richard Lawrence again says, no. A conviction is not a state of one's life forever. I mean, Surely, I mean, so does that mean that you don't believe in like life in prison sentences? Then is that what I'm supposed to decipher from this? Because obviously, I mean, in a perfect world, rehabilitation would be the way. But depending on some crimes, you can argue, I mean, is rehabilitation even possible? Richard Lawrence. I don't want to get too deep into it because I'm trying to read as many different opinions as I can. Cheryl Williams says, yes, we should know if there's a sex offender living in our community. One strike and your name will be in the registry, says Marlene P. All right, folks, I think that's it. I'm getting the wrap up, so we're going to end it here. Thanks, as always, for tuning in and participating in Public Opinion. I'm Mahiri Stewart, and now we are going to turn over to the business report. Stay tuned.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, industrial automation and control solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:35. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Share markets jumped on Monday after U.S. President Donald Trump said weekend talks had resulted in a total reset in trade terms between the U.S. and China, a move which goes some way to defuse the high-stakes standoff between the two countries. The talks in Switzerland resulted in significant cuts to the tit-for-tat tariffs that had been stacked up since January on both sides. The U.S. will lower those tariffs from 145% to 30%, while China's retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods will drop to 10% from 125%. President Trump told reporters that as some of the levies have been suspended rather than cancelled altogether, they might rise again in 3 months' time if no further progress was made. And finally, in the currency markets, at the close of trading today, it cost 159 Jamaican dollars and 98 cents to buy $1 US. It costs 212 Jamaican dollars and... No, it's actually just 212 Jamaican dollars to buy £1 British pound and 114 Jamaican dollars and 52 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Good evening.
The benefits of the NWC debt amnesty will continue to flow for another 2 months. Oh yes, from now until May 31, you may qualify for debt write-offs. Also, if your residential account has been disconnected for 6 months or more, you may qualify. Pensioners, past beneficiaries, and those with commercial accounts may also qualify. So, what are you waiting for? Dial 888-225-5692 or visit a commercial office today to find out if you qualify. The NWC debt amnesty, a part of our bucket full of goodies.
It's only 5 days. 5 days of drive-away deals with ultra-low prices on a new Mazda. Up to $2 million off or top-of-the-line Mazda. Enjoy the super comfortable CX-30 or CX-60. Step up to the new family 3-row Mazda CX-90. Level up to executive motors now and steer into incredible savings. Up to $2 million off. Don't miss out. 5 days only. Visit us now at 8 Moresco Road, Kingston, or call 92-MAZDA. Find us online at MazdaJA.com. Conditions apply.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sans Souci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Big news!
The Big Bite Food Safety Show now airs on Nationwide 90 FM with your host, Alison Richards, the Food Safety Girl. Join Alison every Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m. as she serves up expert advice, tips, and insights on everything food safety. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and remember, food safety is everybody's business. Don't miss a bite of the action. Tuesdays at 1 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. On the next episode, we're cracking open the truth about coconut water safety.
I bust the windows out your car, and no, it didn't mend my broken heart.
Relationships are like sweet strawberries when everything is going well. The heart is full of love and you're under a spell. But what happens when the love is diminished and the relationship is finished? How many stories have you heard about exes doing the absurd after a partner went on their merry way and they're upset to this very day? Do you think, instead of making a stink, it is better to be prudent, like a good student, and learn the lessons of life, even though it cuts like a knife? Join me, Rodney Campbell, every Tuesday from 9 to 10:30 p.m. for Affairs of the Heart, right here on Nationwide 90 FM. This Tuesday's topic, the bitter shake-up that comes after the breakup. You did what?
I bust the windows out your car, and no, it didn't mend my broken heart.
Affairs of the Heart is brought to you by Supermed Pharmacy. Super happy, super healthy, Supermed. The Ministry of Health and Wellness. Healthy people, healthy environment. Viewers, here's to the story.
ICMS Limited. Yes, we can bring in the money.
And Durex, distributed by Massey Distribution Limited, Jamaica.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton. Weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. It is 6:41 and time for the nation's business. I'm Siobhan Campbell. Now we turn to the students of Hampton School in St. Elizabeth who were involved in a motor vehicle crash on Monday. They have been released from the Black River Hospital. Principal of Hampton, Dr. Marvel Charlton Brown, confirmed the news with our news center. She also noted that the 4 students who were scheduled to sit their Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate or CSEC exam at the hospital have done so. The motor vehicle crash occurred on the Holland Bamboo Main Road, and images seen by our news center show a mangled motorcar and a coaster bus with the windscreen missing. The bus bears public passenger plates and the word chartered is printed on the front in bold letters. There's also a dent on the driver's side of the vehicle. Dr. Charlton Brown says none of the students will have to do a follow-up with the hospital. One of the students will have to do a follow-up with the hospital based on the injury she received. And meanwhile, the Ministry of Education says it was able to obtain urgent approval from the Overseas Examination Commission, that's the OEC, to deliver the examination papers to the Black River Hospital.
The ministry says a vice principal and an authorized invigilator were sent to the location. It says the hospital provided a secure space for the administration of the exam. The ministry says this allowed candidates to sit their exams as scheduled. Education officers and a team of guidance counselors have been deployed to Hampton School and Monroe College to offer psychological and emotional support to students and staff. Well, we're being joined now by the principal of Hampton, Dr. Marvel Charlton Brown. Good evening, Dr. Charlton Brown.
Good evening, Mr. Hughes. Thank you for having me.
Good evening again. My co-host is Siobhan Campbell.
Good evening, Mr. Campbell.
Good evening.
Dr. Brown, how are the ladies doing?
But thankfully they were all able to go home. The we learned that they would have suffered bruises to some of them to their faces. Some would have had swollen limbs, and the most significant of the cases would have been the one student who suffered dental trauma involving the loss of some of her teeth. That is the student who will need to return, will need to have a follow-up visit follow-up visits to the hospital and or her private dental provider, dental care provider.
So they were on their way to Hampton this morning?
Yes, they were on their way to school.
So this is a bus that they would normally use, be transported in or chartered or what?
Yes, this is one of the carriers arranged by parents. Or given our location, our parents would normally have arranged buses taking the students directly to the Hampton School and our neighboring and our brother school, Monroe College. So this was one of those motor vehicles.
Dr. Charlton Brown, do you see the benefit of a rural school bus system coming to the St. Elizabeth area?
It certainly has advantages. Given the, I would say, the intricacies of the geography of the areas which feed or school, I see where indeed partnerships with the current providers would prove efficient. Because our students do come from very far. Some of our students travel from out of parish, even some of the rural areas in Westmoreland to come to Hampton. And so indeed, such a program would benefit us.
Hold it there for us, Dr. Brown. We're up on a break. Stay with us, please.
This time signal is sponsored by Janet Global Accreditation, an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. The time is now
14 minutes to 7. We're speaking with the principal of the Hampton School in St. Elizabeth. There was a crash of a vehicle transporting 14 girls of Hampton and 3 from Monroe to school this morning when there was an accident on the Holland Bamboo main road, and the girls were taken to Black River Hospital. Some of them were forced to write their CXC exams at Black River. We have with us the principal of Hampton, as I said, Marvel Charlton Brown. Mrs. Brown, tell me, or Dr. Brown, sorry. Dr. Brown, tell me, you speak of the intricacies of the geography of the area that would have to be factored in any school bus for St. Elizabeth. Tell me some of those intricacies of the geography.
Well, as I said, we have individuals who come from some of the inner reaches of St. Elizabeth, Elderslie, going closer to St. James. We do have individuals as students who go beyond our parish into Westmoreland. So any bus system that would cater to our needs would really need to apply routes that go into rural communities, that would stretch far and wide.
And what has been the experience so far with the system that you now have? How effective has it been?
Well, it has served us well. In our context, parents normally have special arrangements with transport providers. So, or the students who travel into Hampton don't normally just stand at a bus stop or a taxi stand and force their way onto buses. They are normally picked up at agreed locations, to the extent that such buses normally remain in our area where we're able, we accommodate some of those in our bus bay, and others have other arrangements off the compound, not far from the school. They are parked and they wait until school ends, and our ladies will board those buses and go back home. So the arrangement that parents make for their daughters to come to Hampton prevent them from having to compete for spaces in public taxi stands, etc.
And Dr. Charlton, back to the students, at least those 4 students who were forced to sit their CSEC exams in the hospitals, did they express any difficulties considering the trauma they would have had to have gone through earlier in that day?
Well, our staff who we had on the ground reported that those students, well, essentially all the students would have experiencing discomfort, because the impact would have had a number of them, as I said earlier, with the swollen limbs, etc., bruises to their faces. So some of them may have hit their heads, etc., in the impact, but they would have been assessed before, and they would have been allowed to sit the examination upon their indicating that they feel able, and upon the doctors also giving the okay for them to sit the examinations. But we are following the necessary processes. We have submitted the necessary reports to the OEC, and we also know that there's an additional step that we're able to follow, which is to submit an application for special consideration, and that we'll submit those additional documents tomorrow. So that will allow for the ladies for their examinations to be marked with the awareness that they were in adverse circumstances.
And you said how many in total had to write the papers?
Four ladies in total.
4. None from Monroe. None of the boys from Monroe.
Well, we learned that of the 4 gentlemen, the 4 young men from Monroe, there was one young man who needed to sit his examination. But as far as I have learned, that young man would have had his parents collect him and get him, and they would have gotten him to the examination center.
Yeah.
But our ladies, given the circumstances, we brought, upon approval, brought the papers to the examination, sent to the hospital.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Marvell Charlton Brown, principal of Hampton School. Must have been a tough day for the community and for the ladies in question.
Absolutely, it was.
Yes. Stay with us. Thank you so much, Dr. Brown. After the break, the principal of Monroe College will join us.
The Live Good initiative is aimed at promoting healthy, respectful relationships at home, at school, and in our communities. Let's return to the days when members of our communities all participated in rearing our children with kindness, good manners, and discipline. Let's respect each other. Let's become our brother's keeper. Let's replace violence with understanding. Let's all strive to live good.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
The Excelsior Community College 5K Run Walk is set to take place on Saturday, May 24, 2025 at 7 a.m. starting at the main campus, 137 Mountain View Avenue. This event is part of our 50th anniversary legacy project, and proceeds are in aid of providing financial assistance for students in need. Run with purpose. Walk for change. Every step you take helps pave the way for a student's future. Register now by visiting our website www.ecc.edu.jm. Excelsior Community College, 50 years strong and still moving forward.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
Let me quickly apologize. It's the principal of the Horace Clark High School in Islington, St. Mary we have, not of the principal of Monroe, Mr. Milton Matthews, the acting principal of Horace Clark. Well, the school, had a break-in and vandalism over the weekend. It's reported that the incident occurred on Saturday night. In a statement today, the Ministry of Education said the break-in at Horace Clark resulted in the ransacking of the school's tuck shop, administrative offices, staff room, and several classrooms.
Items reported stolen include internet modems, microwave, computer accessories, and tuck shop goods. During the incident, furniture and fixtures were damaged, light bulbs were shattered, and documents displaced. The break-in is under police investigation.
We have the principal, the acting principal with us.
We have Mr. Milton Matthews with us. Good evening, Mr. Matthews.
Good evening. Pleased to have you guys calling.
Yes. Tell me, this was severe. It seems like...
It was, based on what we are seeing, I think it was malicious. We don't have any strong lead as yet, but... It's just disgraceful and distasteful and heartrending to see what happened.
Mr. Matthews, can you tell us what are the security arrangements?
Before you get to security arrangements, we did list some of the things they took, yeah? But what are the physical damage to the plant?
The doors. We have mainly doors were damaged in the general office. Damages to a lot of equipment, electronic equipment, the monitors, mainly monitors, and our surveillance system was totally destroyed. Cameras are intact. I think one camera was damaged, but most of the they didn't do anything to the wiring, outer wiring, but for the internal where the wall unit is, the cabinet that was damaged. But we're up for school tomorrow.
And in terms of, why do you say you think it's malicious, Mr. Matthews?
Because the filing, what they did with the papers, the files and thing, they were just scattered and thrown all over the place. Some were shredded.
Wow.
So my take is that if somebody is going to come and rob and they stole some equipment and so on, why destroy the files? Well, we are not even sure what files are damaged or misplaced as yet because some of them were torn. Those are secured to be sorted out.
So you believe this is far more than just an act of robbery?
I believe that during the robbery they probably were disappointed that they didn't get cash or so because they went into the bursar's office, an assistant bursar's section and general office. So I'm wondering if they were just upset that they didn't get any cash because we don't keep cash on compound. Like that.
You spoke to a surveillance system, so what about the security arrangements for the physical plant?
We have a watchman, a weekend watchman. He was the person who called me minutes after 1 o'clock that they are having a break. We are having a break-in. And I immediately got in action, called the police, and then I drove out at about 1:20 or 1:21. I reached the school at approximately 1:35.
That's Sunday morning, 1:35?
That's Sunday morning, yes.
And the
watchman... based on what he was saying, because they had weapons and so on, he could not move from where he was.
Oh, the robbers had, the vandals
were
armed?
He said, yeah. Yes.
I was curious when you said we are having a break-in, as in he was aware that there were attempts to enter the compound.
Going into the tuck shop, accessing the tuck shop. They were banging and trying to get in. Apparently that was when they cut the lock from the container.
And he didn't make any effort to really challenge them?
No, because he doesn't have a weapon.
How many of them did he notice?
He said 6 or 7 based on his report. 6 or 7.
And
what he's saying that it could be more because while they were at the tuck shop here, you could hear sound from the office section as well.
Well, this sounded like an organized...
Yes, this is clearly not just a random attempt at robbery.
Yes, I believe that we recently got some equipment, and I think that was what motivated them to come. We had procured 2 monitor boxes, real decent system.
Monitor boxes, what are those?
Yes.
Monitor.
Speaker system.
Oh, speaker boxes.
Right. So I think that was the main thing behind it, the breaking. So we actually lost 3 of those because we had one before.
And those boxes.
And I don't think it's strangers because based on the surveillance system, I think that they took the hard drives, the damage, they ensured that the internet was down. The router in the office, the modem that was damaged as well.
No, I hope the police are able to find these because 6, 7 of you.
Yeah. And they damaged the monitors. The monitors for some of the computers were damaged.
Oh.
The TV from my office, the monitor that was taken down and rest outside. Not sure if they weren't able to carry that one, but it was left on the outside. And the one in the bursar's office that was shattered, they used something to hit the glass and break the glass for that one.
I know Horace Clarke has had its challenges, internal rifts within the community there, especially the staff there for some time. I that comes to me now because this seems like a very unusual assault on a school.
It is different from what we're accustomed to, you know. And as I said, I think that, you know, somebody who is pissed off then are just disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
And they just got you and just, you know.
Oh. You were about to tell us that school will reopen tomorrow morning.
Yes, man, we'll have full school tomorrow. Exams, we had CSEC exams, social studies. That was done today. All candidates were there.
Mm-hmm.
Things went on smoothly for that.
Yes.
But I think it's important to note that what we wanted to do today is to ensure that all the staff, ancillary admin and academic staff come on compound and to do an appreciation of their area. To check to ensure that nothing is missing.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever was missing, we'd get the report so we could put it in our tally of damages or stolen items.
And have you been able to do an estimated tally on the number of items stolen and the potential cost in terms of damages?
To an extent, yes. I think, well, it's over $1 million based on my rough check. But the tuck shop, we're not able to say exactly how many juice as yet that were missing. And not a large quantity though, because we did not stock the fridge Friday. As per usual, they would stock for the weekend. And there were not a lot of snacks, but you know we lost some. They threw the snacks on the ground, and they were just going through with some intent to disrupt.
Oh.
Yeah, because they threw things out on the outside in front of the tuck shop, biscuits and so on.
Boy, somebody has it in for Horace Clarke. Somebody has it in for the school.
It really seems this was not just a simple attempt at robbery. It seems like there was an attempt to disrupt the physical plant of the school.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh.
I believe that is my belief. Not have any evidence in terms of, who would want to.
Mm-hmm.
But, you did just look away based on what happened.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
So,
but kudos to the St. Mary Police. It's important to know that the response was good. In spite of Islington not having a vehicle, the Highgate Police responded. Member of the Islington Police also responded with a private vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And we had another team from the St. Mary Police as well.
So by the time they got there...
was also the detectives, right.
So by the time they got there, the robbers were off?
Gone. Right, they were gone.
Oh.
We got good support right until daylight,
But your camera system would have been able to
Right.
capture any of the image?
Unfortunately for us, we did not have anything stored in the cloud. But we have since Sunday morning, and since yesterday, we have worked out and identified how to sort that out in the future. So as soon as we are back in operation, we know what to do in terms of backing up.
Mm-hmm.
Storing to the cloud is kind of expensive, but we have devised another means of getting storage that would be safe and secure.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Acting Principal Milton Matthews of Horace Clark High School in Islington, St. Mary, the victim of what is sounding more and more like an organized assault on the school.
Precisely.
To cause maximum disruption.
It seems quite clear in that instant case, because why attempt to destroy the tuck shop? I mean, even if you didn't get any money, you didn't try to steal the items at the tuck shop, you simply just discarded them and damaged them. Damaged the computer monitors.
And just to add that, they only got like $8,000, $1,500 silver, $6,500 that we use for float. So there was no money lying around for them to take. Just the float that we normally keep to make changes in the morning and so on.
Yeah. Oh dear. I hope you find the perpetrators.
Yeah, we are working on it, and the police are active in their investigation.
Yes, and get to the root of it. What is at the root of it? Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Matthews.
You're most welcome, sir. Yes.
Good. This is Nationwide at 5. After the break, U.S. and China. Yeah, that trade war dissipating, at least for now.
The Watchman. Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. Asapha Powell's pain. There is a wise old metaphor worth heeding. Never speak out of anger. Once spoken, one's words like arrows cannot be recalled and may cause unintended harm to others or to oneself. One cannot be certain what was the mental and emotional state of one of Jamaica's most loved athletes, Asapha Powell, when he posted comments on social media that have gone viral. His words have caused confusion and disappointment among many who look up to him as a nationalist who loves his sport and his country. This is some of what he said. I quote in part, "I got just country pride and all that stuff. I've never gotten anything from the country. I ran free all my life. That's not what I want my kids to do. I was offered millions of US dollars in 2000 to run for a different country. If I knew then what I know now, I would have taken it. If the support system don't change, my kid's not running for Jamaica." The words of an obviously bitter Asapha Powell posted on social media. Usain Bolt's trainer, Glenn Mills, a man given to philosophizing about life, tried to give context to Asapha's remonstration. In an April 5, 2025 television interview, he said, I quote, "There needs to be a structure through which athletes who qualify are able to apply for some kind of grant." End quote by Glenn Mills. Let's admit it. Jamaica does not approach sport generally, and athletics in particular, as an industry to invest in. The same is true for music. The attitude of our governments toward sport and music has been like that of the poor man who given the goose that laid the golden egg for a present, killed and ate it for his Christmas dinner. That must change if Jamaica is to gain greater rewards from more of our gifted sons and daughters breaking through to stardom. Is that what Asafa Powell was trying to draw attention to? His pain seems to be more personal, as if the country owes him something more than the privilege of being born Jamaican and the unrestricted ambition to rise from obscurity and poverty to be the world-renowned athlete and millionaire he is today. Contrast his attitude with that of another iconic athlete of yesteryear, Bertrand Cameron, who neither achieved Asafa's fame or fortune. In a just concluded two-part series on TVJ's profile, Cameron exuded love for country, despite the many struggles throughout his career, and satisfaction with his decision to return to the land of his birth to work with kids who, like himself, have talent but not the means to go to the next level. He bemoans not achieving the coveted Olympic gold medal, but he has found purpose in the grand scheme of life. This is an opportune time to invoke the wisdom of President John F. Kennedy through one of his most memorable quotes. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Celebrate Mom with the Jamaica Observer's For Moms Mother's Day promotion. Win big for mom with a $50,000 cash prize, appliances, gift certificates, movie passes, and more. Just spend $6,000 or more with your Multilink card. Grab the Daily Observer, complete the entry form, and submit it with your receipt. 4 lucky moms will win. Enter by May 16th and make this Mother's Day unforgettable. See the Jamaica Observer for more details. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
Big news! The Big Bite Food Safety Show now airs on Nationwide 90 FM with your host, Alison Richards, the Food Safety Girl. Join Alison every Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m. as she serves up expert advice, tips, and insights on everything food safety. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and remember, food safety is everybody's business. Don't miss a bite of the action. Tuesdays at 1 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. On the next episode, we're cracking open the truth about coconut water safety.
Minutes after 7 o'clock. This is Nationwide at 5. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell. We turn to the U.S. now, where the United States and China announced on Monday a 90-day pause on most of their recent tariffs on each other. The combined U.S. tariff rate on Chinese imports will be cut to 30% from the 145%. Meanwhile, China's levies on U.S. imports will fall to 10% from 125%.
Officials met in Geneva over the weekend for their first face-to-face talks since President Trump's shock tariff rollout on April 2. At the time, he imposed 84% duties on Chinese imports. He adjusted them to 125% soon after and hiked them further to 145% one day later.
The new 30% rate is the sum of the 20% duty Trump imposed early in his second term over alleged Chinese failures to curb fentanyl flows and the 10% universal tariff he has applied to nearly all foreign imports. The BBC has more in this report.
The US and China have agreed to significantly decrease tariffs on goods being sold between the two economies after a successful round of talks which took place in Switzerland over the weekend. Well, following several rounds of tariffs issued by the White House, levies on Chinese imports into the US reached 245%, while retaliation from Beijing took their tariff rate on imports from America up to 125%. Well, in today's breakthrough, both sides agreed to lower levies by 115% for a 90-day period as negotiations continue on. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said both sides saw the need for trade between the two powers to continue.
The consensus from both delegations this weekend is neither side wants a decoupling. And what had occurred with these very high tariffs, as Ambassador Greer said, was the equivalent of an embargo, and neither side wants that. We do want trade. We want more balanced trade, and I think that both sides are committed to achieving that. We would like to see China open to more U.S. goods. We expect that as the negotiations proceed, that there will also be the possibility of purchase agreements to pull what is our largest bilateral trade deficit into balance that has gotten out of balance. And much of this has happened through neglect over the past 4 years, as the previous administration did not engage on this issue.
Scott Bessent there. Well, let's get some analysis from our China correspondent, Laura Bicker. Good to talk to you, Laura. For a long time, China seemed to be digging its heels in. Why do you think they ended up coming to the table in this way and agreeing to these cuts?
Well, you're right. China has been defiant from the start. It has retaliated to every US move with levies of its own. It has pledged not to back down. And I've been travelling across the country. I've met with factory owners. I've met with factory workers. I've met with traders. Many of them agreed with that stance and said, defiantly that they too would fight until the end. However, behind the scenes and behind the rhetoric, it seems that officials are growing increasingly concerned about the impact these tariffs might have on the Chinese economy, an economy that's already struggling to deal with the likes of a property crisis and very high youth unemployment. So there was a concern that these tariffs would have an extra impact. Officials in Beijing are also worried that as many countries rush to Washington to do their own trade deals, they're worried about the threat that Donald Trump has issued, that perhaps when they're doing these deals, they're going to be persuaded to cut China out of the global supply chain picture. Now, that's something that Beijing does not want. So it does seem that when the US has initiated these talks, as China claims it did, that China has responded. They talked for about 7 hours on Saturday, several hours on Sunday. So the talks were, as you heard there from the US Treasury Secretary, robust. And it does seem that they have managed to come to an agreement. And that wasn't something that any of us were expecting. We'd heard from analysts that expectations for these talks were low. So the fact that they have managed to come to an agreement is a surprise to many. It will be suspended, these tariffs will be suspended for the next 90 days while more talks take place. I think getting hold of a wider trade deal between these two countries, between these two leading economic countries, might be more difficult.
And Laura, you talk about the economics there, but there's a lot of politics involved in this too. Where do you think this leaves the often fraught relationship between China and the US?
I think we'll have to see how the talks go between the next 90 days. I think I'm surprised by how positive the tone is in both statements, both from the United States end and the Chinese end. It is a very, very positive statement that's been issued by the Commerce Ministry. However, there's a little, just a wee sting in the tail at the end where the Commerce Ministry said it looks forward to working with the United States in these talks and basically looking at who has been in the wrong, and they blame the United States for putting these levies on China. So it's just a reminder of where Beijing stands. Beijing believes that the United States is in the wrong for imposing these tariffs. However, the US believes that China basically sells too much stuff to the United States. It wants a balance in trade. So finding that balance between Beijing and Washington will be the difficulty over these 90 days. But I have to say, many of us have been surprised by the positive outcome just after 2 days of talks.
Always great to have you on. Thank you very much. Our China correspondent, Laura Bicker.
That report from the BBC, and we continue to watch this closely because it's only for a 90-day period. Yes, the problem or the issue has not been resolved entirely, and this seems to be a strategy of Mr. Trump. He will tell you he's making a deal, he's cutting a deal. It's all about the art of a deal. Yeah.
I'm sure politicians on both sides are going to claim whether this is a victory or a walk back. But at the end of the day, we're back at square one, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Having lost hundreds of billions of dollars. Yes? Although they will tell you the market has recovered.
But it's not just the market. Imagine what it has done in terms of trade between the United States and China over the last few weeks and months in terms of the damage done there to businesses. I know for specificity sake, in the matter of PC exports and imports to the United States, a lot of countries simply just diverted shipments from the United States because of the impact and the uncertainty surrounding the tariffs and how that has impacted the price of electronic components in the US has been quite difficult for many people in the data center area, for example, to absorb. So it has caused significant disruption. Mm-hmm. And now you wonder, many people, I suppose, wonder, what was it all for?
Yeah. Well, Donald Trump for you. It's 20 minutes after 7. After the break, your calls. The numbers to call us, 630-937124 or 618-8255. Of course, 876 before those.
Cliff Says is by far the most popular mid-morning radio segment in Jamaica. Cliff Hughes shares his views on the hot-button topics of the day, editorializing on various issues in the news, breaking news stories, and expounding on stories. Cliff Says sets the tone of the show for the rest of the day. Join the award-winning journalist Cliff Hughes weekdays during Cliff Hughes Online at 10 to 10:30 a.m. Join the revolution in media.
Cliff Says is brought to you by Educom Credit Union, providing value through service, and Hyundai, modern premium affordable vehicles.
Public opinion. Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are a Jamaican. Different people.
It's not a matter of a GLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Welcome back to Nationwide at 5. It's 7:22 and we are taking your calls. Numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. Papa Nana, you're on the line. Good evening.
How are you doing?
Doing quite well, Papa Nana. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm trying to survive.
Good evening, as Papa. Are we all.
Yes. Who is your co-host?
Good evening, Papa Nana.
Hi, my favorite. How you do?
I'm here. How are you? I'm
well,
good.
I'm trying to survive. You know, from me hear your voice, but me have to feel good. You know them, really?
Good.
This is very, very important to me, you know, nationwide. You know, believe me, I'm telling you, dear to my heart.
Good.
Anyway,
What's on your mind this evening?
I just want you give me a little chance to big up Miss Williams, the hero of the guy there that did.
Miss Williams?
Yes.
You mean the mother of
Lurleen,
yes.
Yes. I just want to big her up, to be honest to you, that lady is a hero in my mind. You know, when you keep on talking to somebody and them don't hear, you just get fed up and leave them on them own, and you see how him end up though.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you people may not agree with me, but to be honest to you, I didn't want the police to really kill him, although they couldn't do better. I did want them to catch him and punish him in the worst type of way I can tell you. May I tell you, man? But anyway, that is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk a little about 5 people, especially in the PNP. No,
5?
Mr. Hughes always correct me and say you can't say people liar, they this and that. But when somebody speaks something and it is not true, what name do you give to them?
It can be false. It can be misleading. It can be untruthful. It could be lying.
Okay, well, let me use the word untruthful. And I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I am so disappointed with Mr. Dawes, Mr. Campbell, Mr. Hills, Mr. Golden, and come to think about it, I've known Mr. Bunting for more than 40 years, I can tell you that. To be honest to you, Mr. Hughes, maybe you may not know this, I used to buy cow-calves down by their farm down by Old Harbor when I was raising cows in Jacksonville, right?
Oh.
I know him from I think he was a priest, or a matter of fact, I think he was practicing as a priest.
No, he was training to be a priest.
You're right.
Yes,
so you know,
Peter Bunting.
That is news to me.
Yeah, Peter Bunting was, he told me.
He was attempting to join the seminary?
I think he actually joined the seminary.
He joined?
Yeah, and was in training to be a priest.
Yes.
You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes. And may I continue?
Yes, sir.
And I am telling you, Mr. Hughes and your co-host, I am not really too disappointed. Because can you imagine if he was in the priesthood, what would take place?
Well, hold on. The man is not in the priesthood. Oh, you?
One assumes it would take him down a different path, Papa Nana.
No, God, all the way to shout me down.
No, but not shouting on. But I'm saying to make a leap, he's not in the priesthood. He started as a student in the seminary, and he left for whatever reasons I don't know. Well, he has gone a completely different route now. Yeah. He as in Bunting, has gone a different route. He's gone down the route of politics.
Yeah, well, I am wondering if it's faulty fine with anyway, leave out that part. What I am saying, I remember that there was some incident up by his house with his son. And he promised us that it was some driver that contracted that the little boy has reported an incident to his mother. And he said he was going to check it out and come back to us. And I know we don't hear any argument about it. And every day, him find something new as a mystery. I want to know how the PNP feel that everything that they put out to the public, it is false.
Not everything. Come on, Papa Nana. Not everything is false.
Mr. Hughes.
That the PNP puts out to the public. That's not true.
Mr. Hughes.
You're guilty of a falsehood now. You're misleading the Jamaican people.
All right. Me withdraw that. 99.9%.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Good. So it's not everything.
No. Nor 99.9%.
All right. Tell me something, the honest truth. No. Would you believe anything that I tell you? Would you take it for true until you have probed it for yourself?
You're asking me a question if I would do what?
If you would actually believe anything that Dr. Dawes told you, Mr. Bunty, Mr. Hills, especially and Mr. Campbell, would you really take it serious without you checked it out for yourself?
No, and I wouldn't do it for a lot of people.
You're right. Because there is no truth in a lot of what they had said, and they deliberately.
And you keep on making.
Look at that poor gentleman who have to come out this today and come and defend himself. You know that what the gentleman, Mr. Bunty, well, he's not really a gentleman to me. What he's saying that it is not true. Good God, are you seeking to represent people? Can you imagine if they is given a chance to run this country, what would happen? Anyway, I am giving somebody else a chance, but I am telling them the same God will make their him make nice. And I am just hoping and praying, my last thing, that life will start to affect people by even dumbing them for even a month when them tell lies. You take care of yourself, sir.
All right, Papa Nana.
There are so many stories to tell, Mr. Hughes, in this country. We have what former socialists turning the voice of fiscal prudence and capitalism in Jamaica, a former member of the seminary becoming one of the country's most powerful politicians. Quite a few interesting tales to tell if we look back on Jamaican history.
Of course. A lot of untold stories. A lot. Yeah.
I'm sure your book, when it comes up, will have quite a few details on many of those stories too.
It's 7:30 in the evening. Omalu, good evening.
Good evening, Cliff. Good evening, Siobhan.
Good evening, Omalu.
Cliff, the other day you had a discussion with a prominent lawyer regarding the sentencing act, I think, coming out where the politicians are making mandatory sentences and stuff like that. I came today, Cliff. I was going to announce my starting of my campaign for the Jamaica Labour Party today and go down in some details and something. But this thing that happened with this 9-year-old just throw off everything. And they should go to St. John's Primary, and that's my primary school. Really, it hurts. Yeah?
Yes.
This guy, Cliff, that was accused, he got a 3-year sentence for rape. It was described on Sunday when I was watching the news that he knocked out this 12-year-old and raped her. He came out of prison and he made an attempt and he got bail. When was the judges in this country was going to see that this man is not even a danger to a grown woman, but to selfless, defenseless children? When? Why an attempt couldn't show that this man is not worthy to be out in the general public? Because this is something he did, and this is something that he is willing to do again.
We don't know, Omalu, the facts and the circumstances of that hearing that would have resulted in him being granted bail. Yeah, it is something we just don't know the facts surrounding.
Previous circumstance.
We don't know. We don't know what
but
was
we know
said.
that he spent 3 years, and it was described in gruesome way as to how he deal with the 12-year-old that he was convicted of first.
Oh, it was a 12-year-old?
A 12-year-old. And they said he knocked her out cold.
No, I'm hearing this now for the first time.
Yes, it's on TVJ News.
Oh. He knocked her out
cold. Knocked her out cold.
Was that the child of a former girlfriend of his with whom he was living?
The one that he got the 3 years for.
That's what I'm asking you. That was the child of that girlfriend or that woman he was living with. Huh?
Yeah, yes.
Oh. Wow.
So I'm just saying that when we hear these lawyers and advocacy groups coming, we must also let the general public know what is the government doing and make the people aware of the laws that are passing and the importance of these laws that are passing. Because we hear advocacy groups talking about taking away the powers from the judges. But we, the people, you know what I see? I see the Prime Minister. I've seen the Minister of Sports, the MP for the era. I didn't see a judge giving comfort out there. I see the police. I never see no advocacy group out there. I never see no lawyer out there.
I see on YouTube where they're saying that the 12-year-old was his cousin from his aunt.
And these are the things we are talking about. When we see the politicians are making laws in the interest of the nation and in the interest because Jamaica people have decided that we vote for and it's we put there to create the sociable society that we need. We must tell the advocacy group and the lawyers to be very careful and they're stepping on the people's democratic right to advocate on their own behalf when they vote for these politicians. Yeah? It is very important. And I'm asking the Prime Minister and I'm asking my MP, Delroy Chuck, to bring back that law to the Parliament and amend it and put in anybody with of an offense, found guilty of an offense to that state. It must not run concurrent with no other sentence. It must run consecutive of that sentence. We must start punishing these people real hard when they come on to our kids.
And what's your position on making the sex offenders registry public?
And put it on every computer and put it all in the town square and the community where we live in. I'm supposed to put it in my window. And it's to walk around with a t-shirt every day, go on him neck, go on him back. Where are we going if we are not the adults that are going to protect the kids of this country? When the kids cannot vote in this country and they depend on we, the adults, to give them the space to play and be safe. What are we doing? We have to really, really think about our responsibility if we are failing the generation, and then blaming them,
Thank you very much, Omalu, for the perspective this evening. Thank you.
Cliff, I'm reminded about that conversation I had last week, I believe, with a learned King's Counsel and the stance he took in terms of rejecting the imposition of mandatory minimums on the judiciary, believing that was an overreach on the part of the government. But incidents like this, again, are a very keen reminder about the importance that justice, as I say, cannot just be done. It must appear to be done. Because you cannot ignore the plight of the victims. You cannot ignore the cries of the communities and Jamaicans calling for proper justice in situations like this. And when you see someone commit a heinous crime and after the haggling and the talking back and forth, his sentence is reduced by 50-60%, it doesn't sit well with Jamaicans.
It doesn't. We have Cleveland with us now. Cleveland.
Good evening, Mr. Hughes.
Good evening, Cleveland.
Good evening. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, sir.
Up your hat like what?
Yeah? Red Hills?
Yes.
Wow.
It's to kill you today.
You need some rain, man.
May I tell you, sir? Why? From yesterday to today.
Yeah.
Very hot.
Oh. Summer is coming.
Well, boy.
Summer is almost here,
If the temperature this evening was anything to go by, it's not going to be a very calm, cool summer.
Man, it's hot. Mr. Hughes and Siobhan.
Yes.
Mr. Bunting, you don't know the new rules for the PMP. is to say things against the JLP. And by the time the JLP is to do anything about it, it's gone out into the whole of Jamaica. Right?
And then hope that something sticks.
You know, that are no rules for them.
I didn't know that.
But
yes.
But surely it harms your credibility with the voting base when you can't trust something that is uttered and every single sentence, syllable has to be verified and double checked before any level of trust can be put in it. Doesn't that concern the People's National Party and the spokespersons?
It must.
Don't forget, Mrs. Simpson did tell us, that their party and people and would be the government's worst nightmare. And they have people in everywhere there.
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. Bunting using people in the ministry to give him false news and trying to make the Minister of Education look bad.
Mm-hmm.
That person, if you know that person, should be fired.
I don't understand it, Cleveland.
And that is what's happening.
It makes no sense as a political strategy. Yeah, if it is meant to be,
yeah,
it is not making sense.
No sense whatsoever.
So here we are tonight, Mr. Bunting, for the news cycle since morning.
Yes.
Yeah, has lost a whole day.
Yes.
Yeah, talking about this when the party and the
not going anywhere
should be talking about its case to the Jamaican people. Yes. And it's as if they're not focused on that. When you ask them about that, I heard poor Raymond Price saying on Nationwide last week, the manifesto is going to come.
Manifesto.
Yeah. Now is the time you make your case to the Jamaican people.
But
Yes.
But I'm almost telling you right there in your station, say you're getting government
advertising.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should be run off of the station.
No. Cleveland, let me tell you, you ever hear them say you must make other people set your standards,
That's true. Yeah.
Me learn that.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes, sir. But trust me, man, the PMP stay bad, and I'm glad for that gentleman to answer to Mr. Bunting right away. I'm not afraid, because sometimes some of them would have curl up and say, oh, government may change and they might want to give me no work.
Mm-hmm.
But him standing ground.
That's Mr. Robinson from KNR Associates and Associates.
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Him standing ground and say, no go so.
Yeah. Boy.
See? And it's that they're doing, they go around and have them man in each of the ministry giving them false news and they're running with it. So sad.
Yeah.
And they want to be government.
Why? What is that what we're going to have to put up with for the next... When is the election, Cleveland?
Well, that I can't tell you. And praise the Lord, I couldn't tell you. Although my Prime Minister knows it, I don't even think the person in my lie down with Pampilla that no. I open doors talking and sleep.
It seems I think all bets fall in June?
June?
You think so?
I think it's July.
Anyway, could have called any time now, though. We're ready long time.
Oh.
MP them don't read them away at all.
Mm-hmm.
No, sir. And who them have in their government to turn in the cabinet minister, sir? Who you see there?
You know them, not me. I'm not going to try to answer that question. The last time, who challenged Ricardo to do that? And it caused one hell of a problem.
Yes. And the whole of them afraid of Mr. Golden. Some of them gone underground, them talk and listen, give them the right okay to say something. You can't see it in them,
Mm-hmm.
And they're careful what they say and how they say it. It's as if Mr. Golden have a big strap away for them. So then careful. You remember those two people who was in the Constitution group?
Yes.
And they were to come to tell
Yes.
back a report back to Mr. Golden.
That was Donna Scott Motley and
Yes.
Anthony Hilton.
Anthony
Well,
Hilton.
you know,
Yes.
them almost gone underground, sir.
Mm-hmm. When you talk to some of them quietly, they say they don't want to be the person to be singled out as the cause for the party losing or not making progress. So they're keeping quiet.
Oh, come on.
A number of them,
Come on.
several of them have told me that. They're not pushing out their heads. They're not pleased. They're not satisfied with what is happening. But they don't want to be the ones
and they want
to
to
be
come like
identified.
This one man come and govern us.
Well,
because if they can't say nothing, go and do everything, around, take over all the ministry, and then one do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because him think he said, go him think the money will be there for him to do as him like.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Better.
All right, Cleveland.
No, sir. Take care.
Good. Ian.
Hi, good night, gentlemen, and good night to your listeners.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
All right. I was listening to your comment regarding Mr. Bunting and talking about the manifesto, but really and truly, Mr. Youth, after that budget presentation with the leader of opposition and the shadow minister of finance, do you really think Jamaica is really looking forward for a manifesto from the PNP? I am not even looking in that direction because I am not. I think I called it just before the leader of opposition budget presentation, and I told you that I would have been disappointed. And believe you me, I was surprised of what happened. But you know what is true? Jamaicans are watching, and I believe the Jamaican people have made up in their mind already the way they're going to vote. I don't believe this PNP administration is serious about winning election. I just believe that persons are trying to grab seats who can and who can't. Just try and grab some seats because they're not putting forward any meaningful what you call them, any meaningful option towards the Jamaican people. And I am not going to tell you that the current government is perfect because they still need to tidy up some things.
Far from it.
You understand? They still need to tidy up something. But Jamaican people, I believe, would still trust the government to give them another turn. And one final point I want to make quickly. I don't know if you follow our social media with a comment that Colin Campbell, I believe, made regarding the buses that the Minister of Transport.
Yes, I saw the comment from Campbell.
You know, and this is why here we have someone like Colin Campbell who he has no favor, I can tell when it comes down to the private transport operator. He's perhaps one of the worst for us, who myself used to be in the public transportation, to hear Colin Campbell coming out and comment on any at all, to be honest with you. I think he should just stay in his corner until the PNP perhaps win him, probably come out back. But whenever I hear him speak, I get angry, Mr. Hughes.
Yeah.
I really get angry whenever. I never forget the meeting where I and that man, so when he finished with us, he's not going to stop until foul your head in our buses. So, I'm not surprised of his comment.
Who said that?
And Mr. Campbell said it in a meeting. He will not stop until foul your head in our buses. So he can't come forward now.
When did he say that?
That was when he was at the time he was at the JUTC, and their government was in power, and they used to give the private operators hell, Mr. Hughes. When you had Radcliffe Lewis there, and they used to seize the buses, and we had how many meetings trying to negotiate, and he hike up the prices for us to pay for our sub-franchise alliance. So he must stay in the bush, in the corner, and just stay there until if the PNP win, the people will probably give the PNP a chance without him speaking. So tell him to just stay in his corner. He's one of the worst, Mr. Youth. And I believe many Jamaicans like myself can attest that Minister Darrell Voss is doing a very good job in the Ministry of Transport, right? And he commands the respect of the private operators as well. And we have not had that in a long time. We have not had that because it's not easy being the Minister of Transport in Jamaica. That's one of the hardest ministry next to the Minister of National Security. And I believe I hear someone debate with me as well as health as well. But I believe he's doing a good job, right? And it's welcoming and it's refreshing seeing the children being transported in those buses.
Yeah.
You know, and I pray to God that they will go to and from school safely, and that we will have incident-free, no accident happening amongst our children, and we want the best for our children. And I'm sure every well-thinking Jamaican would want to know that. Thank you, Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Bobby, good evening.
Good evening, Siobhan. Good evening,
Before you come in, Bobby, you know, Siobhan, I'm looking forward to Mr. Bunting's response. This broke yesterday on social media.
Yes.
On Jamaica Politics Uncovered. Yeah? And it got more legs today. And we haven't heard yet from Mr. Bunting whether he was in error, what happened. But you can't make such bold statements in the Parliament. And the very contractor who you told the Parliament had not been paid and was owed money for months comes out and says, no, not true. Not true. And you remain quiet.
Well, I think he's going to fall on the defense that he couched it as a question. So
oh, please.
He never
No, not a question. He said it clearly that the work had not taken place for 2-3 months now.
Yes.
Because the contractor had not been paid. Yeah? And he went on to drive home the point about the cramped conditions that the students of Prattville have had to be going to school under. And when you say that in the Parliament and now you're contradicted, the big man thing that Bunting needs to do is to say, I was in error. Yeah, that is what he needs to say.
But have you ever heard of a politician taking such a high road, Mr. Hughes?
Yes, we have had politicians who have been courageous enough to say I was in error. Yeah,
not in my recent memory. so I am sure you had a better crop of politicians back in your day, Mr. Hughes. But in my recent memory, they either doubled down or tried to sweep it under the rug.
And we shouldn't allow them to do it without calling them out. Yes. So give him some more time until tomorrow. Yeah. We expect to hear from you, Senator Bunting. Yeah. Your response to Mr. Robinson, Carl Robinson, of K&R and Associates, the contractors on the Prattville Primary School Works project. He says the only thing you said that was correct was that the work was 90% complete. But as to whether he's owed money and that is the reason why there's been no work on the project, he said absolutely not true. He said that the contract is going to be completed by next Monday, a week from today. Yeah. And why they have not been at the school, the works that is left had to do with joinery.
Yes, essentially things that would have to take place off-site.
Off-site at their workshop. And that's what's happening. That is in complete contradiction to what you said, Mr. Bunting. So you need to come and clear it up. Yeah? Who is on the line?
Bobby, good evening.
Yes, good evening, Siobhan. Good evening, Sirius.
Good
It
evening,
wasn't
sir.
this I called to talk about. I called to express my condolences to the family of the 9-year-old girl who was brutally murdered.
Mhm.
But, Sirius, you raise a point, you see, and I just want to add something to this. Jamaica doesn't have a credible opposition now. We had in the past, but this one that we have now, it's not credible. Because when I hear Mr. Robinson come out today, stand his ground, right? And up until now, I don't hear Mr. Bunting come out and say, yes, I am in the wrong, and so on. These PMPs, it is an election season now, and oftentimes I hear them come out and talk false news to try and get publicity, so that when the election comes, they can garner more votes. But the Jamaican people grade them and said, hey, no way. You people are not credible. Can't listen to any anymore, right? And I know things like this is putting the PNP under the rubble, right? But what I really want to say is that I am appealing to the private sector of Jamaica. I say you can assist the government in fighting crime more effectively. The police, they have been doing a good job. And I must commend the Era 5 police officers today, led by Assistant Commissioner Christopher Phillips and SSP Upton Nicholson, for capturing that gangster who have done this brutal and heinous crime. You see, I am asking the private sector to assist the government to set up an incentive fund for the police officers. When they do an excellent job like this, the police who involved in things like this should get a special incentive.
I'm not sure how that will work, you know. I'm not sure how that will work. Because when the constabulary force is registering the kind of successes that they have been registering in recent months, over the last year and a half, with a reduction in murders, in impressive rates, then every single member of the JCF should be incentivized.
Well,
going by your measure.
Yes.
You can't incentivize or reward some and not others, because it's a total force effort.
I think Bobby's referring to very specific acts of heroism and rising above the expected call of duty. Right, Bobby?
Right, yes. Right. Yes, Siobhan.
You bail him out,
Siobhan.
Siobhan.
I tell you, Siobhan. Trust me, man. You pick it up, man. Because for example, those police who went down to Sandy Bay today, I think those police should get a special incentive. So what really happened now? So when there is another gangster on the run, other police, because they know that, yes, they will get an incentive from the private sector fund set up by the government, and so they will make every effort to go out there and go after every other gangster, right? So I think something like this should set up. I know the private sector is hearing me, and I know Dr. Orestran is hearing me. I just want them to sit at the table and ask them to try and set up something like this to sweeten the work of the police force. So anywhere the criminals are, they will go and get them.
All right, Bobby.
Okay, then. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So I decided to just do a quick glance of the JCF statistics up to Sunday. That's May 10. Murders are down 38.9%, almost 40%.
And this is up on 24 over 23, down 23%.
Yes.
22, 23.
That was 8%.
9%.
Yes.
So in total, 40, 60, 69% over 3 years. That is impressive.
I keep knocking on wood when I say this, because I want to see that is where we end the year. I think one of the YouTubers voiced something. I suppose I have to agree with them. The last time I heard a full-throated apology from a politician was Floyd Green in response to that COVID-19 blunder. And yes, he took responsibility, owned up to it. He was removed from the cabinet for a brief period of time. And yes, there's an unreserved, full-throated apology.
Yeah, man. Only big men can do that, you know. Okay. All right, that's where we're going to leave it. Thanks to all of our callers, our contributors today, our producer, Dana Davey, our technical operator, Andrew Anderson, members of the news and production team led by Cara Powell. Thank you all so much. We're going to make way, for, it's the end of live programming for the evening. Yes? I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Reminding you, take care of your loved one and look out for your neighbor. Good night.
In Jamaica, your